Evans, I just also want to use another example. We are on Twitter, okay, and you can tag yourself and also comment at HDIFTZ. You can follow that up. We're having the communication. Nimeuliza swali moja ambao nitaenda kwa watu wawili watatu wanijibu. Uchumi wa kidijitali umerahisisha vipi maisha yako? Okay? How has the digital economy simplified your life?
Baby, naomba nijibu kwanza hapo.
Okay.
I'm a walking example.
All right.
Hoja zamani kwenda benki kufungua akaunti. Yaani unaweza kufungua akaunti kupitia app, ukafungua akaunti kupitia taratibu chache sana ambazo zamani hadi uende kwenye tawi lenyewe uanze kujaza vitu vingi. Siku hizi ukiwa na kitambulisho chako cha NIDA ama nyingine inatosha kabisa kufungua akaunti. Lakini vile vile kulipia ada, unajua sasa hivi hali yenyewe kidogo ilikuwa imeshake kwa ajili ya COVID na nini. Sasa matokeo yake kulipia ada unalipa kwa viwango tunaduduliza. Kwa hiyo kuwa na mawakala. So you no longer have to go to a bank, you can just go to an agent, make the payment and you're done. You've saved on time, convenience, and that time can be converted to money. And all these stories ambazo tumeona hapa, wengine kuambia tumeokoa muda. Tuna muda wa kufanya vitu vya maendeleo.
All right, let me now ask just a few random people, one or two, okay? How has digital economy simplified your life? Au kwa namna zipi au njia zipi ambazo digitali uchumi wa kidijitali imerahisisha maisha yako?
Asante. Mimi naitwa Nuzrak Dawson, natokea Nukta Africa. Mimi imenisaidia kuuza maudhui yangu mtandaoni na kupata pesa.
Alright.
Pesa umepata pesa ngapi?
Evans bwana wewe. Alright, twende kwa mtu mwingine. Habari za asubuhi, unaweza kutuambia vile uchumi wa kidijitali umerahisisha maisha yako, biashara yako, vyovyote?
Yeah, naitwa Nelson ya Capital TV. Yeah, tukiongelea uchumi wa kidijitali, mambo mengi ambayo nisashindwa kuelezea hapa amenisaidia. Imenufaika navyo. Imenufaika vitu vingi hususan kwa sisi wa media. Kuna baadhi ya vitu na share na watu, unatoa wazo, unaliweka, watu wanachangia. Kwa hiyo kuna vitu vingi sana nimejifunza ambavyo siwezi kuviweka wazi, lakini kadri tunapoendelea tutaikana wazi.
Asante sana. I'm going to one gender balance. Okay? Tena kwa dada hapa. Unaweza kutuambia wewe kama mwandishi au uko kwenye fani ya media vile digitali ya kiuchumi imekurahisishia maisha yako?
Asante. Mimi naitwa Rose, mwandishi wa The Citizen. Nasema naitwa Rose, ni mwandishi wa The Citizen. Kama mwenzangu alivyotangulia alivyosema, kuna mambo mengi kwenye uchumi wa kidijitali ambao umetusaidia kwa sasa hivi. Mimi langu chache tu kwamba sasa hivi sihitaji kusafiri ili kuweza kutuma hela. Mfano mamangu akiwa na shida na kwa tuna hela kwenye simu namtumia. Asante.
Safi sana. Kweli tulikuwa tunazungumza vile ilikuwa inabidi zamani kutuma kwenye basi. Unakumbuka bahasha kwenye basi, usubiri upate namba ya conductor au dereva ili mama apate hiyo pesa. Njoo.
Baby.
Hold on, last one.
Yep.
Naitwa Daudi Wakota, natoka Clouds. Uchumi wa kidijitali umerahisisha vipi maisha yetu? Mimi na sababu nyingi za kusema hizi. Kwanza, mfano sisi ambao tumejiajiri, tuna biashara nyingine nje ya kazi. Mfano siku hizi kuna bodaboda zile. Kwa bodaboda unakuwa unaifunga system ya kuimonitor bila dereva kujua. Kwa hiyo ukiamka asubuhi unaingia online unaangalia kwamba bodaboda wangu leo katembea labda kilomita ngapi. Umeona? Hiyo ni ya kwanza. Ingine, uchumi wa kidijitali umerahisisha vipi maisha yetu? Kwa sababu kwanza uchumi digital, soko la digital limetoa ajira kwetu. Mimi niko hapa kwa ajili ya digital. Nimeajiriwa kwa ajili ya digital. Mimi hapa nilisimama hapa licha ya kuwa content manager wa Clouds upande wa social network, ila mimi pia naendesha akaunti za viongozi mbalimbali wa nchi hii. Kwa hiyo soko hili limetoa ajira kubwa sana kwetu. Kwa hiyo ni muhimu sisi kama wanahabari tulilinde, pia tufungue milango kwa wengine ili watie mkono wao hapa. Nashukuru.
Safi sana, but also most importantly imeweza kuendana na wakati huu wa COVID-19 kwa sababu unaweza kufanya kazi popote pale ulipo hadi nyumbani. Kweli? You don't have to go to the office. You don't have to mingle with people. You can do everything from where you are. Asante sana. So now I would like to take a moment to thank our organizers, wao watu ambao wamefanikisha Innovation Week Tanzania, lakini pia wametuleta hapa ambao ni HDIF through FCDO, COSTECH and UNDP. Asanteni sana organizers wetu.
A big thank you also to our sponsors. Makofi kwa tafadhali, makofi. A big thank you to our sponsors, Vodacom, our main sponsor, tunashukuru sana, European Union, Tigo, CRDB Bank, Unicef, and NMB Bank.
As well as the Netherlands Embassy, UNCDF, Seagull Family Foundation, Ifakara Innovation Hub through the Swiss Embassy. Asanteni sana, makofi please to our sponsors.
And not forgetting our partners, especially media partners, Plus TV, Clouds Media, and The Citizen. It's the content that counts. We would like to also say,
makofi kwa partners tafadhali.
Makofi kwa tafadhali. If you are using a mask, please use it correctly. I can see so many styles. Kuna mlegezo. I didn't know there's a mlegezo for masks. So please, either it's fully on or fully off. So at least when someone gets you on a camera, because that's why in the presence of media, then they make sure we're sending the right message. That you've got it on or you've got it, at least we know. Have come over hapo. Asante sana.
So it's either on or off. Okay. Labda tu kuambia tutakuwa na panel hapa, ndio maana tumeweka hizi viti ambao ni discussion. Tunarudi kwenye theme yetu inclusive ambao ni jumuishi. Kwa hivyo tafadhali tungependa maoni. Kumbuka ni ya media symposium, stakeholders, partners, startups. Na kwa nini tumewalika hapa kabla hatujaanza wiki yetu rasmi ambayo itakuwa siku ya Jumatatu? Ni kwa sababu tulikuwa tunapenda kuwapatia ile exclusivity ili mpate kujua, kuelewa, kuuliza maswali, kuchangia, ili mkianza kuandika kwenye habari zenu, kutuma kwenye TV, online TV au pia kwenye apps au kwenye social media zenu, mnaweza kuwa mabalozi ambao mtaweza kutuma habari hii vizuri sana au information au taarifa hizi vizuri sana. Kwa hivyo hii hapa ni free. Kumbuka hamjakuja press conference. Hii sio press conference.
Hii ni tofauti, hii ni symposium, kwa hiyo ni jumuishi.
Yes.
Tunavyosema kwamba muwe active kwenye kujifunza na kuelewa.
Yes.
Ili wiki ijayo wakati stories sasa zimeanza kutoka, exhibition inafanyika na talks zinafanyika, then at least you're more active and participatory kwenye kuelewa kabisa kwamba ni jambo gani ambalo tunazungumzia.
Yes. Kwa hivyo sio sehemu kupata kuja kutafuta news, hapana, nyinyi ndio news. Sio mnakuja hapa kutafuta sijui kuongea sijui na bank, no. Mtauliza maswali ili wewe upate kuelewa, ili uende kwa watazamaji wako, wasikilizaji wako au wasomaji wako waweze kuelewa. Kwa hivyo tuna representatives from banks. I know CRDB Bank is here. I know NMB is here. I know most of the stakeholders wako hapa. Tulijaribu kuwaita hao partners, sponsors na organizers wao hapa ili sisi waandishi wa habari tunaweza kujifunza, kuelewa na tunaweza kwenda kupatia au tunaweza kuichambua vizuri hizi taarifa ya wiki hii. Ndio maana ni Innovation for Resilient and Inclusive Digital Economy.
Sasa basi, baada hayo, let's just quickly go through the program, what we'll be doing up until the end of this event.
Ipo kwenye meza kama ndio kwanza umeingia, there's a program on the table.
Right. So basically it's welcoming remarks from special guests from COSTECH and of course country director HDIF. Moving forward also we have remarks from our partners and sponsors.
Yes.
Yep. And then after that,
we'll get into the moderation now.
There you go. So fireside chats, we have a few of those. They'll be moderated and there'll be panel discussion forum.
Here.
And there'll be plenty of time to ask questions. So if you do have a question, just write it down somewhere. You have a notepad in front of you. And then ask it when it's relevant. And please, let's not repeat questions so I have more time to expand on the issues that are being discussed.
And remember, let's keep this active. We can't be talking about innovation if we are not online, if we're not using the same tools that you're asking people to use. So I'm glad kuna online TVs hapa. I know most of us have got a social media account. Let's keep this active and engaging for the public to actually see this. Karibuni sana, asante sana. Remember, you can still keep on having your tea or juice as we go on. So at this moment, I would like to welcome Dr. Amos Nungu, the Director General of COSTECH, ili atufungulie rasmi symposium yetu, alafu tuendelee na mazungumzo. Karibu sana Dr. Amos Nungu.
Makofi tafadhali kwake.
Namwona yuko kwenye tablet yake ndo ana update kwa group, yani sijui ya Costec au sijui yuko kwenye Twitter. So here we go. Come here. Tuko hapa.
Jamani, habari za asubuhi. Serikali ya Jamhuri ya Muungano, dear partners, I suppose the language is English and Swahili, so I will try to use both languages. But because, my message, also the internet users are including the common Nchini, so I will use mostly Swahili. But understanding that, when we started, we tried to do a tumingo, so jirani yako atakusaidia kukutafisiria. Thank you. Yes, so this is the 7th Innovation Week, and as the display says, it is a pre-event for the Innovation Week, which is supposed to take place between the 17th and the 22nd. And the Innovation Week is organized in a partnership with the government through Costec and HDIF, which are funded by UK Aid, and of course UNDP. So first of all, I take this opportunity to welcome you, the journalists, because it is said it is a symposium for the journalists, our sponsors, all of them, the partners, and the other stakeholders in this media symposium. Karibuni sana, and we expect a fruitful engagement, kwa sababu tukitoka hapa tuwe mabalozi wazuri. Nirejea kusema kwamba hii wiki ya ubunifu, kama tulivyosema, hii ni ya 7 kufanyika na imeenda ikiwa inaboreka katika mwaka. Serikali imekuwepo kama nilivyosema, lakini tulitamani kuifanya iwe ya kitaifa zaidi. Kwa hiyo kwanza mwaka juzi 2018 tulianza mchakato wa kuwa na kitu kinaitwa Makisatu with the National Competition for Science, Technology and Innovation. Pia wiki ya ubunifu zifanyike kwa pamoja na zilipangwa mwezi Machi. Bahati mbaya ukatokea msiba wa mpendwa wetu Dr. Magufuli, apumzike kwa amani, hatukuweza kufanya. Kwa hiyo wiki iliyopita tulikuwa na Makisatu kwa Dodoma, ambayo Makisatu Kiswahili chake ni mashindano ya kitaifa ya sayansi, teknolojia na ubunifu. Kwa sababu ya changamoto, kwa maana ya kwamba tuna partner mbalimbali, wakati mbalimbali wanaoshiriki kwenye hizi event mbili, ndio maana ikabidi tuzipe nafasi. Tulifanya wiki iliyopita, Innovation Week ifanyike wiki ijayo, lakini serikali imeingia moja kwa moja, kwa maana ya kwamba Innovation Week kwa maana wiki ya ubunifu na Makisatu ni kitu kimoja, kwa sababu lengo ni lile. Nikirudi nyuma kidogo, kama nilivyosema, Costec mkoa akishiriki tokea siku ya kwanza Innovation Week, na Innovation Week kwa kiasi kikubwa imesaidia sana kujenga ule uelewa, ule mfumo wa the innovation ecosystem in the country, kwa sababu imekuwa ni forum, ni jukwaa la kukutanisha watu mbalimbali, tukianza na ubunifu wenyewe, watunga sera, viongozi, watafiti. Kwa pamoja mijadala inayotokea pale Kwa pamoja ubunifu tunazoziona zinasaidia kujenga ile taswira na kusaidia kukumbushana kwamba nani ni nani kwenye ile mfumo mzima wa ubunifu. Kwa maana tunasema kwamba the innovation ecosystem, the innovation week has created the awareness. Kwa hiyo umeijenga kiasi kwamba ile tulikuwa tunaifahamu 2015 na leo ni tofauti. Kwa hiyo tunazidi kujua zaidi kwamba ubunifu ni nini na nani wanahusika kusudi uweze kutokea. Na of course kikubwa kwa serikali siku zote ni kujiweka mazingira wezeshi. Hiyo ndio kitu cha kwanza serikali. Ndio maana from day one koste kipo kwa serikali kujifunza, kusapoti, kuwezesha. Kuwe na mazingira wezeshi. Kwa sababu wanaobuni ni sisi wenyewe, lakini wanaowezesha ni mchakato, ni kila mmoja wetu. Na nirudia kusema kwa hiyo Innovation Week, kwa maana wiki ya ubunifu na makisatu, they are the same. Ila tulianzia mjini, kwa tukaanza na wale wabunifu ambao wanaweza kufanya PowerPoint presentation, na mpaka wale grassroots innovators, kwa maana ya ubunifu wale ambao hawapo kwenye mfumo rasmi, wote tunaweka pamoja. Kwa maana hiyo kuna vitu tumejifunza ambavyo tunakuwa nabia ile makisatu mliofuatilia kwa Dodoma. Nafikiri mlifuatilia, mlisikia Mheshimiwa Waziri Mkuu akisema makisatu ina pati 3. Tuna pati ya kuibua, kuwatambua na kuendeleza. Ina pati 3. Sasa ukiangalia pale kuibua, labda kwa Kiingereza kwamba to identify, organize and support. Yeah, we have the national competition for science and innovation. 3 components. First, we try to identify them, the innovators or the innovations. Then we came to recognize them, then support. So the first 2 components, identify and recognize, is done by the ministry. And that was ended the day before yesterday in Dodoma, because there was a team which went throughout the country to identify them. And then the best 10 in each category, we have 7 categories. They came to Dodoma, where we have the government now. The Prime Minister shook hands with them, took photos, gave them certificates. So that's why, we encourage them. But the third part, after recognition, is supporting them. Now, that part also, it is multidisciplinary, multi-sectorial, involves everybody. Because we have seen at least 5 kinds of innovators or innovations. There are those doing it for fun, those doing it for learning, doing it for exhibition, those doing it for impact. So you cannot have one size fits all. So we expect, we've done it for 2 years. So now we expect, we engage more partners in order to work together to support the innovators or the innovations which were identified. Kwa tukiangalia hiyo, mkajana tumsikia Mheshimiwa Waziri akisema, Waziri Mkuu iliyopita, hawa wabunifu endelezwe, lakini pia wiki ya ubunifu na makisatu viwe nchi nzima. Tulifuatilia, tulisikia maelekezo yakitolewa viwe nchi nzima, ianzie kwenye wilaya ije kwenye mkoa. Tunafurahi kwamba tulivyoanza Innovation Week tulianzia Dar es Salaam, jengo la Costec. Baada ya miaka 3 akaja mgeni rasmi, alikuwa naibu waziri wa elimu, akatu challenge kwamba tokeni nje ya Costec. Tukatoka nje, baadaye tukaenda mikoani michache, mwaka huu tuna mikoa 7 tunafanya kwa pamoja. Lakini baada ya maelekezo ya Mheshimiwa Waziri Mkuu, ina maana tutaenda nchi nzima. Inawezekana tusiende mara moja, lakini kwa uzoefu tulionao tuna imani kwa mwakani yatakuwa mazuri zaidi. Kwa msingi huo ni picha kwa maana ya kwamba serikali inatambua kitu, inakithamini, na ndio maana hata Mheshimiwa Waziri Mkuu akaamua kuja kuwa mgeni rasmi juzi kwenye mashindano yale, kwa sababu anaona umuhimu wake. Lakini pia niseme kwamba kwenye hii mpango wa miaka 5 wa 3 uliopo, umeongelea sana kuhusu ubunifu na teknolojia kama nyenzo muhimu ya kuleta ufanisi kwenye chochote ambacho tumekipanga kwenye utekelezaji wetu. Kwa hiyo serikali bado iko na msitizo katika ubunifu na teknolojia. Sasa ubunifu kwa aina nyingi, na nafikiri kwa miaka 7 hii ambayo tumekuwa tunafanya Innovation Week hii ya ubunifu, tumekuwa tukijaribu kutoa definition sahihi ya ubunifu, kwa maana kama inawezekana ikawa ni kitendo, ni kifaa, lakini pia ni process. Kwa hiyo ubunifu tunawaona au tukawasikia leo kwenye hii tunapozindua hapa, na tukawaona kusikia wiki ijayo, sio lazima awe ametengeneza kifaa, lakini mengine tu ni njia ya kufanya kazi. Sasa hivyo vyote ndio maana nikasema kutoka mwanzo kwamba tunashukuru hii wiki ya ubunifu imekuwa inaleta mijadala ambayo inasaidia aidha hata ikiwezekana kuboresha mifumo iliyokuwepo, sera zilizokuwepo, kusudi tuwe na ubunifu wenye tija, kama kauli mbiu inasema mwaka huu, kwa maana ya kwamba ubunifu kwa uchumi digitali ambao ni jumuishi na endelevu. Pia huo mpango wa miaka 5 unajaribu kuweka kupita humo, kwa maana ya kwamba chochote tunachofanya kiwe na ubunifu ndani yake. Mheshimiwa Rais alivyokuwa anaongea na bunge mwezi uliopita, aliongea hayo, kwa maana ya kwamba iwe kilimo, iwe uvuvi, lazima kule kuwe na ubunifu ndani yake, kuwe na utafiti ndani yake, kusudi kuleta tija. Kwa hiyo niwashukuru kwa kuhudhuria hapa, nikifahamu kwamba nyinyi ni mabalozi wazuri, haya mazuri yameshafanyika na tunategemea kufanya. Karibuni sana, kwa sababu bila nyie waandishi wa habari kuyasemea haya, mwananchi wa kawaida hawezi kuyafahamu. Lakini kikubwa niseme, tulipokuwa Dodoma juzi, tuliona vitu vingi vizuri, na pale kwenye maonyesho ambapo bado kwamba ni vijana ndo wameiburiwa, wengine bado hawajapewa ile support ya kuendelezwa, tayari wana product ambazo tayari zinatakiwa zitumike. Nakumbuka waziri wa elimu aliweka order ya ile kigari shamba kile cha SUA kile, aliweka order pale. Mwenyekiti wa kamati ya bunge huduma za jamii alinunua mifuko 20 ya begi za watoto wanatumia sola pale. Kwa hiyo pia inaonyesha kwamba tayari mwitikio upo, vijana wapo, uwezo wanao, ila tu ni haya mazingira wezeshi kusudi kuweza kuwasaidia kuingia sokoni. Wale ambao wanabuni kwa ajili ya impact, kweli impact ionekane, na wale ambao wanabuni kwa sababu ya pia na ujasiriamali, pia kuwe pia na hayo mazingira wezeshi, kwa maana kwamba kumwezesha, kwa maana kwamba sababu buni sasa sokoni unaingiaje hiyo commercial au tija yako ambao unataka pia ufanye viwanda, ufanye ajira, tunafanyaje? Kwa kila mmoja aliyokuwa hapa leo, kama nilivyosema, tuna sponsors, tuna partners, ambaye leo inawezekana haja sponsor hapa, lakini partner kwa maana ya kwamba hizo bunifu kwa njia nyingine zinamhitaji kusudi ziweze kuleta impact inayokusudiwa. Kwa waandishi wa habari, wadhamini wetu, partner wetu, tunashukuru sana uwepo wenu, tunakaribisha sana. Karibuni sana.
Makofi tena tafadhali. Huyu ni Director General Costex, Dr. Amos Nungu. Kumradhi, kuna mmoja katika sponsors wetu ambao tulimsahau kumtaja pale. Naomba tumshukuru sana UN Women. Yes, UN Women tunashukuru sana. I know you are here. Sinde, makofi kwa tafadhali. And if you remember, by the way, kwenye 5-year development plan in Tanzania, innovation has been mentioned over 50 times. So it's part and parcel kwenye government strategy ambayo tumesikia hapa ya kuendeleza, na ubunifu unaanza hapo padogo, lakini what follows thereafter? How do we scale up? How do we support?
It reminds me of, unakumbuka ule jamaa miaka nyuma, nafikiri 3-4 tunaweza kwenda hadi miaka 5, akatengeza helikopta. Sio ubunifu?
Ubunifu
Innovation.
lakini kuna ubunifu amegusa sehemu fulani nyeti.
Alright, nafikiri ndio maana tunahitaji kufika kwenye kujua tunaweza kufanya nini. Sasa nimemsikiliza Director General akiongea kuhusu wale ambao wanafanya ubunifu for either entertainment, for commercial purposes,
For impact, education.
Helicopter ilikuwa ya?
Education, burudani. Anataka kukimbia nyumbani kwake.
Alright, asante sana. Thank you very much, and that's how we've gotten it started. Na I'm sure kama una maswali kwa Dr. Amos Nungu ambaye ni Director General wa COSTECH, kwa sababu COSTECH ni mojawapo organizers, na pia kwa wale ambao wanajua masuala ya ubunifu ni kwamba ukitaka kurasimisha ubunifu wako, creation yako, idea yako, vyema uone COSTECH. Kwa sababu siku hizi unaweza kuitengeneza hapa, nene kamuoneshe Evans aone fursa ya pesa bila kuniambia, achukue aende afanye biashara, alafu baada hapo amekuwa amenibia mimi idea yangu. Umeelewa? Sasa hapo tunafanyaje? Itabaki mimi na story tu, ile mimi nilitengeza, huyu Evans alinibia. So COSTECH will be able to protect you. They'll be able to patent your creation and your idea. I think with COSTECH, kama sijakosea, Dr. Amos, nafikiri even you patent the idea, Ata ile wazo, mnaanza kwenye wazo. So if you want to do something that's different and you want to approach, say, a bank or a partner, and you're scared that they will plagiarize your idea or steal it, you actually unatengeza idea alafu unaenda COSTECH. Ile maandishi yako nataka ni makaratasi mawili matatu, umeandika hata kwa mkono, umeichora, umefanya nini, unaenda kwa COSTECH, they register it, I think. Yes, let me give you the mic. Yeah, they register it and they give you like a number or something. Then now you can approach a sponsor or a financier.
So COSTECH is a facilitator. The actual do as a consultant and a blender. But because a consultant and a blender, they are doing many things. So COSTECH is usually a partner in educating. What we do first, we educate. And when it comes to patenting IP issues, is a challenge. And it was one of the directives from the Prime Minister, juzi, kwa maana kwamba we have to enforce, kuwasaidia ubunifu wetu. Kwa hiyo yule mbunifu ambaye hawezi kwenda kusota moja kwa moja au blera, karibu COSTECH, tutakuongoza. Tunaomba waandishi msaidie kufikisha hilo pia.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think we've gotten a good answer there. Next
is a few words from the Country Director of Human Development Innovation Fund, HDIF. Please welcome Joseph Manilakiza.
Karibu sana. Let's sanitize this.
Good morning, everyone. Habarini za asubuhi. Right, nadhani moderators wameshafanya kazi yangu kuwa rahisi, wamesha define digital economy. Director General ameshazungumzia kuhusu historical background ya Innovation Week, or basically sina kazi ya kufanya. So I just came to greet you and then go sit, right? Right. Thank you very much for coming this morning, and we really don't take it for granted for a large number of journalists and partners and sponsors turning up in a large number like this. To add, this is a kind of big event for next week, as I've already mentioned. And we wanted to give this exclusive chance to journalists to mingle and rub shoulders with the big people who are making this thing happen, right? So I expect that you guys are going to ask as many relevant questions as possible, because digital economy is a big thing, and whether you know it or not, we are already deep into it. So whether you're going to get out alive and thrive, it depends on us. So what I'm going to do, basically just going to emphasize what Dr. Nungu has said, and probably go a little bit into details about the this year's theme, why we actually selected this. Evans amesema ni kauli mbiu ngumu sana. Lakini if you think about it, it's not that difficult. So nitaelezea kidogo. So labda kwa kifupi, Dr. Nungu has already set an example. We are going to use both languages. I don't know whether there is anyone who doesn't speak Swahili or English. Or if there is a French speaker, I can also try French a little bit. All right. So, Dr. Ngameshaelezea kuhusu historical background ya Innovation Week. How it started, it was just out of an idea, like how do we actually announce our first grantees as HDF? So one of our team members just came up with the idea, why don't we just do Innovation Week? Then I think I can't remember whether there was any country or any organization that was doing Innovation Week. So that's how we started. Just with a few people at Costec, and just invited our grantees and other partners. So that was it. So that's how it started. Now it's grown. Now the Prime Minister has already announced it as a national occurrence, which is a big win for us, for the ecosystem basically. Because what it does, it gives this platform to more partners to be able to discuss innovation. Because innovation, if it's used loosely, it can mean nothing and mean everything as well. So that's why we have to figure out what is innovation, because people are saying, well, I have this innovation where they're just talking about something they have designed. But it's much, much bigger than that. What if you find, you happen to follow what we are doing, what we have been doing now is challenging even the government to think about policy. Because if you are trying to push this innovation technology thing, we cannot rely on policies that were enacted in the past, because technology advances every day. So you cannot regulate technology of 21st century with policies and law that were enacted like 10, 20 years ago. It's not possible. So we try to also to infuse this idea of innovation even in the policy making, in the way we act, in our educational system. So there's quite a lot. And what you are going to see basically, even the sub-thing that we are going to be deciding this year is be able to kind of challenge that, so people can discuss, well, are we even ready for this digital economy? Because we are in it, as they have given examples, but are we even ready to take advantage of that? So quickly, how we came up with this theme. This year, I mean, you all know that 2020 was a difficult year. 2021 is still difficult. We are not quite sure when it's going to be easy for us. Kwa sababu ya COVID, nadhani pengine tuna bahati kwa sababu tukwenda kwenye lockdown kwa muda mrefu, lakini there are quite a lot of sectors that were affected by even the non-continuity of business activities, shule kufungwa na nini. Kwa sababu mtoto akisha kosa shule hata mwezi mmoja, it's a headache. Kwa wazazi kama sisi, unakuta nyumbani you are not prepared to take care of that kid, so it's an issue. So that's how we thought about, okay, we are in the digital economy, this is a big thing for the government, for everywhere, for all the developed countries are kind of talking about in the digital economy, how do we navigate through it? But let's think about the resilience part. Stahimilivu. I always give an example when the schools closed. It's like everyone was confused. I think it's only a few private universities and private, probably secondary primary school, that somehow managed to get online relatively a bit quicker. Everyone else was like, okay, what do we do? So far, I only know of one university that kept teaching. I think even our some of our big universities, like University of Islam, they were a little bit rattled. So how can we now figure out, okay, we are going to have these kind of shocks? We hope not, but they might happen. How are we prepared to be resilient in face of dark shocks like those ones? So that's how the idea of resilient came about. Like, if something like this happens again in the future, how can you use innovation to remain resilient? And then inclusive, we are all talking about, I think at HDF we have this saying, leaving no one behind. So we're talking about how can we make innovation work better for women and girls? So the inclusion comes in. So we can't keep on talking about digital economy, digital transformation, when we are leaving behind a large number of people. And in most cases, unfortunately, when you are advancing so fast, the group that are at risk of being forgotten are those that are traditionally marginalized. So we talk about women, girls, children, people in the rural areas. So how can we navigate or design the initiative in this digital economy era by making sure that we do not leave those groups behind? So that's the idea. That's why we say, okay, innovation for a resilient, inclusive digital economy. Digital economy, we've already defined it. It's just ni uchumi ambao unaendeshwa kidijitali. Sasa hivi, whether you like it or not, that's where we are going. Nasikia kuna some tribes, I don't know whether it's in the US, sikumbuki jina, ambao hawataki kabisa maendeleo. Yani hata gari wanatumia bado nani zile za 15th century. Lakini nadhani ku survive in this era without adopting the digital technology, it's not easy. So that's why we have to embrace it and also understand it. And lastly, why did we think about involving journalists at this early stage? Moja, nadhani kitu ambacho nimeshagundua, nadhani nchi zingine waandishi wa habari wanajua ni nguvu gani walionayo. Kwa Tanzania wanajua, lakini sijaifeel vizuri kama mnaitumia kivile. Kwa hiyo nadhani ni wakati mwafaka kujua waandishi wa habari mna nguvu gani, mnaweza mkajenga na kubomoa at the same time. So nadhani ilikuwa ni muhimu kwetu kusema okay, kwa sababu digital economy ndani the discussion imeanza sasa hivi, it just started. It's important kwamba to involve journalists kwa ajili ya kutusaidia ku-educate, the kind of programs you air, the kind of discussions you have on air. So I think kuna vitu vingi huwa vinabadilika haraka uandishi wa habari mkivisukuma. Recently, nafikiri we have an example, kuna sheria, sijui kama ni sheria, sijui ni kanuni ambayo ilianzishwa na BASATA, ambayo ilikuwa inaumiza watu wengi sana, wasanii, include their families, everything. Mlipiga kelele sana na serikali ka act haraka. So that's the kind of action we need. Hata tunapokuja kwenye adoption of innovation technology, mkitumia nguvu hizo kwa vitu ambavyo pengine vinatuaffect moja kwa moja, affect ndugu zetu au ndugu zanu, nadhani inaweza kusaidia. So that's why we thought, let's start with the journalists so they can understand what we are talking about, and you can be the best ambassadors of kind of saying against some of the policies ambazo zinaturudisha nyuma, or some of the practices ambazo zinaturudisha nyuma. So that's why we thought, let's have you guys meet with the sponsors, meet with the partners, talk to the government, use the media, and then help us push the message. So nimalizie kwa kuwashukuru partners wote, kwa kushukuru nyeto kuja, kwa kuwashukuru COSTECH na serikali nzima pamoja na UNDP kwa kupartner sisi kutunga mkono baada ya kuanza mwanzoni. Lakini vile vile it wouldn't have been successful throughout all these years bila kushirikiana na sekta binafsi pamoja na mashirika mengine. Kwa namna ya kipekee washukuru Vodacom kwa sababu wamekuwa ni main sponsors. Sasa hivi ni mwaka wa 3 ndio walioanza kutuelewa kabla tujaanza ku-approach wengine. Kwa Vodacom asanteni sana. Lakini sasa baada ya Vodacom tuliona wengine waki-follow suit. Kwa tuli-approach watu wengine, sio wote ambao walikubali watu wa-approach, lakini tunashukuru kwamba private sector nao mmeona kwamba kuna umuhimu wa kupush innovation forward. Because it works for us, for the citizens, it also works for you guys, because the moment people understand what you're doing, the digital products are so many. So that's why we have banks right now, CRDB and NMB, thank you very much. We have other telcos that are also following suit, Tigo, asanteni sana. We have UN agencies, ndo walianza kutuunga mkono kwa mapema kabisa, Unicef the second time, UNCDF for the second time, UN Women, gender inclusion is at the top of the agenda, asanteni sana. Seagull Family Foundation, private foundation, this is also the second time they are supporting us. For them, their main interest is in social entrepreneurship, grassroots innovation. They are going to be talking about that. Swiss Embassy, we've been working with them. Now they are working with us through Ifakara Innovation Hub. Nafikiri mtakuja kuisikia. Ifakara is just deep into Ifakara, which is now getting closer to the discussion about grassroots innovations. European Union, tunashukuru sana. Nadhani Dutch Embassy. Again, this is the second time we are also working with you. Asanteni sana, tunashukuru. I think he's going to be talking about climate tech. How can we use the digital innovation to show that we can be resilient against the climate change? So asanteni sana, na I hope journalists mtauliza maswali mengi, na all the partners and sponsors are going to get a chance to say something why they are supporting this platform, and also give you a sneak peek view of what kind of event they are going to be doing in the week. Kwa machache, na I hope sijatoa muda mrefu sana. Nashukuru sana. Asante, ni karibu.
Thank you very much. That's HDIF Country Director, Mr. Joseph Mani Rakiza. And now, tushapata kutoka COSTECH na HDIF. Tunaenda sasa kwa organizers ambao tuko na UNDP and Vodacom sponsors as well. UNDP and Vodacom tutaanza na UNDP. If we can have the opening remarks. Hii hapa tuna limit kwa dakika 3. 3 minutes please. Karibu sana UNDP. Vodacom, please be on standby. Asante.
Asante. Dr. Amos Nungu, Director General, COSTECH. My friend Joseph Orenkaniza, a Country Director for HDIF. Dear partners, media, ladies and gentlemen, habarini za asubuhi. Nafikiri mengi yameshazungumzwa na waliotangulia. Langu mimi ni kuhusu kwa nini UNDP tuko hapa na kwa nini tumeona umuhimu wa sisi kushirikiana na waandaaji pamoja na partners wengine katika wiki hii ya ubunifu. Awali ya yote, sisi kama UNDP tunaamini kwamba ubunifu ni DNA katika kufanya shughuli zetu. Moja, changamoto zinakwenda kasi sana, lakini namna ya kuzitatua zile changamoto tunatumia mbinu za kizamani. Sasa ili tuweze kwenda sambamba na spidi ya changamoto, ni lazima ubunifu uwe sehemu ya hizo nyenzo. Lakini pia nashukuru kwa serikali kwa kuona kwamba ubunifu ni nyenzo muhimu katika kusukuma gurudumu la uchumi wetu na maendeleo kwa ujumla. Wote tumesikia kwenye mpango wa 3 wa maendeleo, innovation ni one of enabler katika kufanikisha hayo. Labda nitumie neno hili, sio neno zuri sana, lakini innovation, it's a crazy idea. And it's need courage to try. Na wengi hapa watazungumza, wale ambao ni startups. The first day ulipogundua hicho ambacho sasa hivi kinakuletea pesa, watu walikuwa wanakuona kama unazungumza nini, and you get any attention kwa watu wengine. Sasa moja ya kitu ambacho tunaamini ili watu waweze kupata fursa ni kuwa na jukwaa huru na jukwaa rasmi. Na kwa innovation, maana kwa ubunifu, sehemu pekee ambapo watu wanaweza wakajitangaza lakini pia wakapata fursa, wakapata biashara, ni kuwa na jukwaa kama Innovation Week. Na ndio maana kwetu sisi tukaona kwamba ni sehemu pekee ambayo inatoa fursa. Imetoa fursa kuanzia kwenye Makisatu, wote tuliokuwa tunafuatilia wiki iliyopita, zaidi ya mawazo, zaidi ya idea 1000 na kitu ziliweza kuonyeshwa. Na katika kuonyeshwa kuna watu wamepata tenda, kuna watu wamepata kazi, na hivyo ndivyo ambavyo hata wiki inayokuja tutaendelea. Ubunifu umechukua nafasi kubwa sana kwa vijana. Tunajua kuna tatizo la ajira. Sehemu pekee ambayo imekuja kutoa ajira ni kwenye ubunifu. Tunajua sasa hivi mtu uhitaji kwenda Kariakoo, unaweza ukaagiza bidhaa yako kwa sababu umemuona kijana fulani ameitangaza kwenye Instagram, ameitangaza kwenye page yake ya Twitter, au ameitangaza kwenye Facebook. Sasa ni kwa namna gani tunaendeleza na kuweka mfumo rasmi ambao unasaidia watu kupata hivi. Lakini upande wa kina mama vile vile wangependa kuona wakina nani wamefanikiwa na wamefanikiwa vipi. Sehemu pekee ambayo you could do that is through this platform, the Innovation Week. Lakini kwa ujumla, Innovation Week, it's more than event. To me, I say it's more than event kwa sababu inatoa fursa, lakini pia it gives time for people to connect and to make business, to make orders, na mwisho wa siku kuboresha hata bidhaa yako ambayo unatengeneza au huduma ambayo unaitoa. Na kuna watu ambao wamekuja wakashare kwamba kupitia Innovation Week ya mwaka jana ameweza kupata tenda, ameweza kuuza, ameweza kuongeza portfolio yake ya wateja. Sasa hizo story tunataka ziendelee kuwa nyingi zaidi. Na mwisho, kama tunavyoelewa kwamba HDIF, it's almost winding up, and from UNDP we are humble and pleasure to take over na kuendelea kufanya kazi na wadau ambao wapo kwenye innovation ecosystem of Tanzania, na tuchukue fursa hii pia kuwakaribisha kuanzia Jumatatu. It will be a marathon week but very fruitful and very engaging, and itakuja na fursa nyingi. Tuwakaribishe. You can participate. The all week will be hybrid, whereby you can get virtual or you can come physical to makumbusho, ambako you'll get chance to hear vitu vingi ambavyo vimeandaliwa. Na kwa ujumla kabisa niwashukuru sana waandishi wa habari ambao wamekuja hapa. Nafikiri Joseph ameliweka vizuri kwamba media, nyinyi ndio tunasema ndio sehemu ya kupitisha taarifa, na ni vizuri nyinyi mkaelewa, ili hata wale mnaowapelekea ujumbe waweze kupata ujumbe ambao ni sahihi. So niwakaribishe sana, feel free, uliza maswali ili tuweze kuelewa, lakini pia mtusaidie kuanzia leo mpaka baada ya wiki ya ubunifu kuendelea kuandika story za ubunifu, wale wabunifu wenyewe, kwa sababu ni njia mojawapo ya kuwatangaza pia, na nyinyi pia kuonyesha kwamba mpo kidigitali. Nawashukuru sana.
Makofi tafadhali. Mwakilishi kutoka UNDP mzungumzie mfano mmoja nzuri sana kwamba sasa hivi vijana unawezekana huna haja tena ya kwenda moja kwa moja kutafuta mteja ukiwa na duka lako, bali uko mtandaoni tu, na tumeona wengi wanasema tunatuma na mkoani. Baada hapo naomba tupate neno fupi kutoka kwa wadhamini wakuu vile vile. So please welcome from Vodacom. Is Nguvu here? Yes, Nguvu Kamando, Director of Digital and Value Added Services. Thank you. Makofi tafadhali kwake.
Thank you, Evans. Asante sana. Director General Dr. Amos from COSTECH, COSTECH, my brother Joseph, Emmanuel, UNDP, other organizers, UK Aid, main sponsors, and the people from the media. Good morning, all. Vodacom is really excited to be part of this innovation week. As said by my brother Joseph, this is the third year we are doing this. It's the third year in a row. For us, the soccer lover, it's a hat-trick. And normally with hat-trick, you take the ball, you go with it at home. We are not doing that. We'll continue sponsoring because we believe and we understand the impact of innovation in our life. So this year's theme, innovation for a resilient and inclusive digital economy, is the one that speaks to the heart of our corporate social contract, which is inclusive for all, creating a digital society in the planet. And as you know, our vision at Vodacom is to digitalize Tanzanians. And I was so happy when I was reading some messages from the banners. I'm sure it's from UNCDF, that they will also ensure that no one is really left behind on this digital era. So as Vodacom, that we want to digitize Tanzania, what does it mean? It means that we will create the environment from technology point of view to ensure that the fourth industrial revolution and all good things that are coming from the digital era are also available to Tanzanians. Once again, Vodacom is very proud to be at the front, at the forefront, and a partner with the key stakeholders in the innovation space that are present here today and in the coming week, including, to mention a few, the government, development partners, NGOs, the ICT fraternity, academia, and the whole innovation ecosystem. This collaborative effort for a wider purpose and impact we see here today is also part of our social contract to push a digital society and inclusion for all, where innovation technology is transforming the way we do things and improving life of millions of people in the community. We believe the future is digital. And we work towards building an inclusive society in everything that we do. We also believe that innovation plays a central role in driving vibrant digital and inclusive economy, in which access and affordability plays a key role to ensure that the digital tools and services are really available and they benefit the entire nation. Vodacom participation in the Innovation Week for 2021 complements the other initiatives that we are doing in making the innovation space, including, to mention a few, our digital acceleration program, whereby we have partnered with a local hub, Smart Lab, on ensuring that we support young entrepreneurs to develop innovative solutions which are addressing challenges in Tanzania using digital tools and technology. We have another program, to mention a few, that is looking after young girls. We call it Code Like a Girl, whereby at this point in time, we've already trained over 600 girls in Tanzania. Vodacom is also driving digital economy through development of a number of innovative digital services, products, that have increased efficiency, making life easier for millions of people. And proudly, I can mention some of them, including M-Pesa and other digital services. My brother Evans was giving an example that somebody from the US was asking, how can you pay your DSTV or your NA utility while you are sitting at home? Now, I would like to share some numbers with the media people that as we speak, there are about 1.2 billion registered mobile money users in the world. That accounts around 16% of the total population, which is about 7.9 billion. But what does it mean? To us in Africa, it's critical when you get another very important KPI or number that over 1 billion transactions per month in US dollar is the money that is coming into the ecosystem through international remittance. So that remittance value of 1 billion per month, it means coming to really improve the economy in Africa. But when it comes to innovation, Vodacom last year, we were also able to unveil the first open API, real open API for M-Pesa, which plays a very great role on fast-tracking go-to-market solution to innovators and the startups. As of now, only 24% of all mobile operators or mobile financial systems who have managed to have open API. So you can see, with all the good numbers, but only 24%. So we have a long journey to go, but we are happy that Vodacom is already there. And we have seen already the impact from a lot of startups, especially in the fintech areas, that have really taken the advantage of the open API to make things easier and faster. We look forward to a fruitful engagement through a series of discussions and exhibitions with stakeholders from the public and the private sectors, development partners, tech experts, young people, students, and all other stakeholders, including the media people, exactly what we are doing. And we really depend on you. At the end, we depend on you. At the end of the Innovation Week for 2021, we look forward to concessions on the way forward in achieving sustainable development through support and the promotion of innovation thinking in technologies, investment, and others. As you know, we started specific programs on agriculture, health services, fintech. I've said a lot. I've mentioned about M-Pesa, and I will continue playing a great role in this innovation space. We thank you for being here, and together we can. Asante.
Thank you very much, Asante Sana, and that was from Vodacom. Now, we are again going to please insist on 3 minutes on our sponsors and our partners and organizers. Tafadhali. Next we have CRDB, and they're telling us why it's important to support a platform like Innovation Week in Tanzania, and many of the sponsors we've had a year on for many years. This is our 7th year, as the others have been there twice or 3 times. So CRDB, if we can get our representative, please. Dakika tatu. Asante.
Director General, Dr. Amos Nungu from COSTECH, my colleague Joseph, dear partners, collaborators, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm standing here on behalf of CRDB Bank PLC, and we pride ourselves as offering innovative and suitable products and services to our customers through digital transformation. And that is the sole reason as to why we saw an opportunity to be able to engage in the Innovation Week Tanzania. This will be our first time sponsoring the event. And the main goal is just to be able to celebrate what everybody in the innovation ecosystem has been able to do, to demonstrate, engage, have conversations one-on-one on how we can just drive and advance the digital economy. We all know that sustainable growth is inclusive growth, and our business as CRDB, we prosper when everybody does, and fail when a system fails too many. With that being said, I'm looking forward to engaging with each and every one of you. Let's be able to ask questions, participate, because our collaborative opportunity is to just be able to leverage on expertise and the latest innovation. So I'm really looking forward. Asante na karibuni.
Makofi tena tafadhali. Huyu anaitwa Corinne Tumbuka, Manager, Scrum and Lean Agile Delivery. And now on behalf of Seagull, I do believe we have Angelica. You here, Angelica? Thank you. Tumkaribisha Chief Officer of Mobile Financial Services, Tigo Pesa, Angelica Pesha.
Asante. Director General of COSTECH, fellow sponsors, mabibi na mabwana, habari za asubuhi. Kwa jina naitwa Angelica Pesha, Chief Officer wa Tigo Pesa. We as Tigo are very excited and proud to be part of the sponsors for 2021 Innovation Week. It is our first time, and I'm left to wonder why it is our first time. But finally, we have seen the light, and we are here to be part of the sponsors, and are very excited. And we have quite a number of activities we are working together with the organizers to make sure Innovation Week continues to be a platform where we can showcase our products and services, we can connect with other stakeholders, and also use this platform to encourage and bring more innovation in the country. So innovation really is part of our business strategy and is in our DNA as a business. Our strategy is to build digital highways that improve lives, connect people, and also develop communities. So in these 3 things, you cannot do either of them without having the right innovation, without having the right partnerships and, of course, the right forum where you can work together to bring this to fruition. So as a leading digital lifestyle company, we have quite a number of innovations that we've done as Tigo. And to mention but a few, we have one of the best financial services app, the Tigo Pesa app. We have worked with different partners to bring first products into the market. We'll have international money transfer with currency conversion as the leaders in bringing this into the market some time back. And we continue to innovate with products and services, but not only in terms of products and services, but also in relevant partnerships. So just to highlight, one of the key activities we've done in terms of ensuring everybody is connected is our partnership on the birth certificate for all children below 5 years. So we believe to bring everybody on board, we need to start as early as that. So if we can give you the opportunity to be connected as soon as you're born, then we can lead into connection as you continue growing. So with this project, we've been able to bring about 5.4 million children on the birth registration. And also we've given a number of devices to support this project and so many others. But to mention a few, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now, I'm getting many questions on my social media if we're live. I believe we're live through Cloud's YouTube page. So YouTube, that's Cloud's Media Live. Do you have any other media or organization that's going live right now in the house? So we could announce it. So I think for now we're live on Cloud's Media. So for those who are asking, Cloud's Media, the YouTube page. You'd like to invite Unicef, Mr. Nelson Rodriguez, please. Come give us your welcome remarks. Karibu sana.
Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be here representing UNICEF for the second consecutive year. Thank you very much to HDIF and COSTEC for hosting the event. And it's a pleasure to be sponsored this year again and be able to showcase some of the work that UNICEF has been doing for children in Tanzania. It's actually quite a nice segue because we partner in the event, but we also partner with some of the participants in other events. And for example, Tigo was just mentioning birth registration, which is something that we do as partners. So, but what does UNICEF do in terms of innovation? Our role is to defend child rights. I think everyone knows that, but also to co-create these innovative solutions so that we accelerate some of these results for children and young people. So let me say that innovation, and as HDIF was just mentioning, is not something that happens in a blank space. UNICEF uses and considers innovation as doing something new to solve today's problems and improve the lives of children. We do that by partnering with institutions on the ground in the countries that we work in, because we do think that local innovators, and particularly young people, are ideally placed to generate solutions for these existing problems. As an example, we do work in 5 key areas: data, digital products, programmatic innovation, so innovations within our programs, innovative financing, and frugal, simple innovations. This year alone, using digital channels, UNICEF has reached 58,000 young people through a program called U-Report, and communicated using SMS through our mobile operator networks on topics such as sexual reproductive health, mental health, and even governance. We have standing programs with our partners, such as the University of Dar es Salaam, in which 30 students this year will be taking a practical training on HCD, human-centered design, and are creating solutions for our own programs. This year, UNICEF very proudly will be presenting local solutions. We will have 2 panels, one dedicated to SMS communication, and the other dedicated to water, sanitation, and hygiene products, most specifically menstrual health and hygiene. You'll hear about the work that UNICEF has done on a hackathon with the University of Dar es Salaam, and also in the partnership that we've had with Duke University in the US on an accelerator program that has supported 3 local enterprises, Thai Tanzania, Kasole Secrets, and FEM International, on how to deliver and promote better menstrual health and hygiene. So with this, I'd like to conclude by saying thank you very much for having us. UNICEF is a development partner that is very proud of being very inclusive. Children are part of our development. We work for children very proudly on our mandate, and we are looking forward for our interaction throughout this Innovation Week. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Makofi tena tafadhali kwa Mr. Nelson Rodriguez. And now moving on, we would like to have a representative from UN Women. Please welcome the program specialist and head of women's economic empowerment, Lilian Mwamdanga. Karibu.
Asante, Director General Kostek, Director General from HDIF, Joseph, all protocol observed. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. So UN Women, as most of us know, our key mandate is to ensure that women, girls, along men and boys, both benefit from the development agenda within the country. So the reason why this time around, and actually it's the second time that we are participating in the Innovation Week, is because we have seen immense opportunities that are offered by digitalization and by innovation. And I have just mentioned that our role is to ensure that women along with men both benefit. So we are also looking at various ways increasingly on how women and girls can also participate as users, but also participate as innovators of innovation and the digital economy. As UN Women, we look at the different sets and categories of women. So to say, we are considering the opportunities within the urban settings, but also within the rural settings, but also women at various levels and girls at various levels with these different types of settings. We have really noticed, and it has been mentioned by Joseph in the remarks on the gender gap that exists between men and women and the participation on the digital economy. So I'll just give an example. When you look at the rural areas, are they really able to benefit from digitalization like we in the urban women? We're talking about using social media, we're talking about Instagram, how we can purchase things, and actually to solve the issues of unpaid care work for women and girls. But the situation is quite different from the rural setting. So our participation indeed is really to bring this thing to showcase the different learnings that we are getting from our engagements in various areas. And we are also noticing, and we all know that the gender gap exists due to the structural barriers. For instance, the illiteracy level for majority of the girls. So UN Women, for instance, have done some programs on, we participated in the programs African Girls Can Code initiative to really enhance the role of girls in technology, in STEM, and the like, so that they can be equal players in this ecosystem. This time around, we'll have, in addition to participate in series of events, but we are co-hosting a program with our partners, Dot Trust, and I'm glad Diana is here. And our program would really be looking at creating a hub of practice that will aim at sharing knowledge, data, opportunities, and at the end of the day, to come up with a learning document, or rather, we could say, a working group or modality on how we can be exchanging information and knowledge on how women and girls can be better participants in the innovation ecosystem. And we'll be discussing ideas on how a gender-sensitive, responsive hub looks like. I understand we have a number of hubs that looks at issues of men, women, girls, and boys. So we really want to put our learnings together to come up with ideas on how this will look like in terms of resources and in terms of any type of investments that will be required. And in this event that we'll be doing jointly with Dot Trust, will also be, our partner Dot will also be launching specific program that will look at the issues and really tap and work into them, the issues that are inhibiting girls and women participation in the digital economy, things like digital skills, and how we can really support to ensure that they are equal beneficiaries in the innovation ecosystem. So really to congratulate the organizers. This has been very helpful. Even our participation in the last year, we've really connected with like-minded players, learned a lot, and also shared our knowledge on how we can really bring through women and girls in this ecosystem. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, UN Women. In fact, just to add on to that, on to our topic, one of the topics that we'll be having on the moderation, we shall have why does gender inclusion matter when it comes to innovation and technology, ambao I will be moderating that session, so that will be very good, and UN Women of course will be there and represented. Asante sana. If you've just joined us, tupo live on Clouds Media YouTube channel, na tuko kwenye Innovation Week Tanzania. This is the media symposium, na tunazungumza kwenye theme ambayo inasema innovation for a resilient and inclusive digital economy, ambao kwa Kiswahili ni ubunifu kwa uchumi wa kidijitali, stahimilivu na jumuishi. Asante sana. Na tunazungumza na sasa hivi tunasikia maneno mawili matatu kutoka partners na sponsors wetu, na kutoka UN Women tunaenda kwenye UNCDF ambaye atakuja kuzungumza Annette Kasebele ambaye ni policy advisor. Karibu sana.
Director General of COSTECH, Dr. Amos Nungu, HDIF Country Director, and ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Annette Kasebele, and I'm representing UNCDF. So this is one of the UN agencies. It's a United Nations Capital Development Fund. And this is our second year, actually, to be part of Innovation Week. And for us, innovation really align with our strategy. So for those of you who do not know or you have come across UNCDF, we have been doing a lot of work in the financial sector, so supporting financial sector development in low-income countries, Tanzania being one of them. So our work used to be around financial inclusion and the likes, and we have revised our strategy to focusing on helping countries transform into the digital economy. So our new strategy at the moment is looking at inclusive digital economy. And one of the pillars within that strategy is to support innovation. So this really squares very well with our strategy. And this is why for us it's key to participate in forum like this, because this is an opportunity to understand the landscape of innovation in countries where we work, as well as identify different partners who are playing in the space and find opportunities where we could collaborate. So from out of our engagement last year, we kind of like evolved into a number of projects, and I will share in my talking what we were able to achieve or accomplish from last year. But as far as innovation is concerned, because from UNCDF perspective, we are looking to see how innovation can touch some of the marginalized community. Because I think by experience, you would see a lot of innovation happens in big cities, or especially for us who are looking at digital innovation, it tends to touch the end users who can afford smartphones or data packages. So for us, we come in to see how can we make sure that a woman in Sumbawanga or in Kigoma can also engage in the digital space. Okay. So we do work at a macro level where we work with policymakers to do policy and regulations, as well as at the micro space whereby we work with end consumers to facilitate digital literacy and digital skills so that they can fully participate. And out of last year's work, we were able to partner or identify partner from Innovation Week and do a study on fintech ecosystem in Tanzania. So I will just show a snapshot of a report that we were able to publish. We have a couple of them with us today, but we have an event next Thursday as part of the Innovation Week event, where we'll be launching the report and reveal what are some of the next steps that we'll be doing as UNCDF with different partners from the government, other development partners, and ecosystem facilitators, including some of the hubs, and so on and so forth. So I'll stop here, but we'll be very happy to have some of you next week, and it's good to be part of this and to share what we are up to as UNCDF. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Annette. Nashukuru sana. Just reminding you that we are streaming live. Tuko live hapa kupitia YouTube, Clouds TV, YouTube. So kama umekaa na mtu ambaye sio mwenzi wako, wewe unakaa vizuri. This is technology after all. We have to know how to use it responsibly. Having said that, let me please welcome from the European Union. Do we have Lisa? Lisa here? You have a very long title. Program Manager, Economics, Private Sector Development and Innovation at the Delegation of the European Union to Tanzania. Welcome, Lisa Satoli. Karibu.
Thank you. Dr. Amos Nungu, organizers of the Innovation Week, ladies and gentlemen. When I look around this room and I know the partners that are here today, and when I convince you of the power and the importance of innovation and digital solutions to drive development in this country. Now, where we as the EU believe that the real, let's say, magic happens and the real opportunities are, is if we can get Tanzanians to actually become the producers of this innovation rather than just the consumers of innovation. And, you know, how cool would it be if we can get Tanzanian entrepreneurs and Tanzanian innovators to use these emerging economies to create solutions that are locally applicable and that actually create solutions that work in this local context. And I think this is where you know, the Innovation Week comes in. When I arrived to Tanzania in 2018, or since I arrived to Tanzania, I've met a number of brilliant entrepreneurs and brilliant innovators. And I know some of you are with us here today and in this room. And I know that by meeting these people, I know that the creativity is there and the drive is there and the brilliance is there. So I'm very proud to be representing the EU as one of the sponsors of the Innovation Week to help these entrepreneurs actually make this magic happen. And also to be part of the ecosystem to support these entrepreneurs. Now, what do we as the EU do to actually help this happen? We've got an upcoming program to actually support Tanzanian innovators and entrepreneurs to drive innovation and to create digital solutions in Tanzania. And on top of that, we have prioritized digitalization in our upcoming program, and we will streamline digitalization in our upcoming interventions. So thank you so much to the organizing team for having us be part of this important event. And I'm looking forward to sharing ideas and discussions with you in the upcoming week. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And in going with what Dr. Amos talked about from COSTECH, in line with what the government is saying, is to identify, recognize, and then be able to support this innovators. So I think that's a good one that you're coming in as the EU, and your support will be highly appreciated. I would just like to advise you to get onto the ground. You'll be amazed and surprised at what you'll see. Moving on, we've got the Dutch Embassy, who we know have been a good supporter, as our friend Joseph said. So Dutch Embassy, karibuni sana. Danke.
Ja, asante sana. Habari za asubuhi. Mimi ninaitwa Matthijs balozi ya Ulanzi. Ninafikiri kwamba lugha ya rasmi ya Wiki Ubunifu ni Kiingereza na Kiswahili. Ni unasemaje Kiswahili? Ndio, asante sana. Kwa hiyo ninajaribu kuongea kwa Kiswahili, lakini kwa Kiingereza ni labda bora zaidi. So the embassy is very excited once again to be part of the Innovation Week for a second time. We believe the Innovation Week is a unique platform here in Tanzania to share, learn about innovations, to showcase innovations. It's also a unique platform to meet. And the Netherlands is the 5th most innovative country in the world. Tanzania is one of the 3 most innovative countries in Africa. So I think there's a lot of yes. There's a lot to be shared, and that's why we also have invited companies from the Netherlands, journalists from the Netherlands, to be part of this Innovation Week. And we were talking this morning about a resilient and inclusive economy. And someone was saying we shouldn't leave no one behind. And also we believe we should not leave behind Mother Earth. I'm talking about climate change. And rather, I want to talk about the climate crisis we are facing. And not only in Tanzania, the global world is facing a climate crisis. And luckily enough, the good news is we have innovation. And innovation is there to mitigate climate change, to make a business out of climate change, but also, secondly, also about raising awareness about the climate crisis. And we all have reports, we all have meetings, that's very useful, but we have to change the narrative. And that's why journalists are so important. Digital storytelling is very important. So we talk about photos, we talk about videos. Those are key to really change the narrative. And luckily we have innovations to support this. So those things will be the focus of our contribution to the Innovation Week. We want to focus on climate smart cities for Tanzania, to change the narrative, and to support innovations to help that. Thank you so much. Asante sana.
Nashukuru sana from the World Dutch Embassy, Mathis van Uwen. Shukrani sana. Yeah, nashukuru kwamba kusikia kweli Tanzania we're one of the 3 most innovative countries in Africa. Na kama ni mtu wa kula chips utagundua kwamba waliogundua kuweka mafuta ya transformer ule ndani ni ubunifu ambao umetumika vibaya. Sasa tujaribu kuchannel innovation yetu itumike kwa njia nzuri, in a positive way. Having said that, let's please welcome our sponsors from the Seagull Family Foundation. Please welcome the Programs Officer, Caroline Kandusi. Karibu.
Director General, COSTECH, Dr. Amos Nungu, Kakayangu Joseph, and the HDF Dream Team, the rock stars, wafadhili mbalimbali na washirika wa maendeleo, wadau wa media, habarini za asubuhi. Kwa jina naitwa Caroline Kandusi, niko hapa kuwakilisha taasisi ya Seagull Family Foundation. Seagull Family Foundation is a private philanthropy based out of New Jersey. And our core vision and mission, and something that really keeps us up at night, is being able to find and work with visionaries who are change makers working in local communities across East Africa and support them in their ambition, innovations, and creativity and different local solutions they're creating to solve different social needs, but also to identify opportunities in our local communities and be able to amplify them for much more sustainable change. And that is the motivation for us to be part of the Innovation Week, proudly standing here a second time this year, but I think we're here to stay. Because one of our core values is learning and being able to innovate. And we believe that local solutions are best solutions. So I guess from the conversation and from the opening remark of Dr. Nungu, we are the people who are tirelessly looking for different innovators ambao wameibuliwa, wametambuliwa, na tuko hapa kwa nia ya kuendeleza. Nadhani na hicho ni kitu ambacho tunaweza nikasema kwamba kwa nini ni muhimu kuwa na space kama the Innovation Week. We need to showcase and celebrate local innovations because again, they're sustainable and they respond to the cultural context, they respond to the needs, and they really thrive the whole concept of community-driven development, which is so dear to us. Also, this space is creating a room for conversations and creative collaboration, which is our motto. By the virtue of being here this morning, I've learned about a couple of organizations and local innovators who are innovating different solutions in healthcare access, in education access. Sitting with the UNCDF, I've just learned about a person who is building up a service to enable communities invest slowly into their healthcare and insurance. And I think this, again, continues to highlight the importance of coming together in the ecosystem and having this conversation and sharing experiences and networks. So for this year, 2021, Seagull Family Foundation is happy to sponsor Innovation Week and will be going to Iringa tukiungana na juhudi za kutoa Innovation Week from Dar and finding other local visionaries outside of our key capitals. And the conversation we'll be holding in Iringa specifically is sitting down with innovators and asking them what works. For many years, we have sat and asked ourselves what doesn't work. It's frustrating. There are a lot of challenges. But looking from the faces and from what I've heard, seems like there's a lot also that is working. And as Seagull Family Foundation, we are looking forward to learn from each and every one of you on the different solutions that you're doing, which are working in a way that we can also chip in and contribute to make that impact bigger and better. Looking forward to connect and looking forward to learn. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And that was from Seagull and SAF, and we are very happy that you're here with us. We're just about to finish the welcome remarks from all our sponsors and our partners and organizers, and we'll finish off with Ifakara Innovation Hub. Karibu sana. Ifakara, kama tunaye representative? No, not there today. All right, so plus also would like to recognize NMB. They're here with us, but they will not be speaking, but thank you very much for your support. And if we're ready now, would like to introduce this year's, the Innovation Week Tanzania logo. All right, so are we ready for that? The Innovation Week Tanzania logo 2021. If you're ready for that before we start setting up our panels. All right, so we'll be having a panel here. We'll also have a fireside chat. We're talking about innovation and girls and women, and we're talking about grassroots innovators and children. How can we innovate and move faster without leaving anyone behind? That's going to be our first session. That's going to be right here. I'm Baby Kpi. You're joining us live if you're on YouTube. From here, we are at the New Africa Hotel, and it's known as Four Points. 4 points. 4 points, my bad. 4 points. And we are actually on the 7th floor. We are talking about getting the Innovation Week started. That's starting from next week, Evans. But we're having a media symposium here with stakeholders and loads of media that has been represented. We are also looking through this year's theme, which is innovation for our resilient and inclusive digital economy.
Ambayo kwa Kiswahili ni gumu, ni Unajua kuishika ni changamoto.
We have it.
Yes, ubunifu kwa uchumi wa kidijitali, stahimilivu na jumuishi.
Okay, so we're ready for the logo now. Okay, we've been told 1 minute.
Almost there.
And remember, I told you this is very inclusive, jumuishi. Kwa hivyo kama una maswali andika pembeni, kama una maoni pia andika pembeni, kutakuwa na muda ambao tutakuwa tunazungumza. We're ready? Are we going to switch off the lights or something? Do you have anything grand? Or innovators don't want to deal with all of that, just want to get it out there. Is it there? Are we ready yet? We're ready. Okay, so this is the Innovation Week Tanzania 2021 logo. Teaser and logo, sponsors logo. Karibu. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. A round of applause. Okay, thank you very much, Asante Sana. So that's how we're going to kickstart it off with this new logo for 2021 for Innovation Week Tanzania. Remember, it's going to be at Makumbusho, so tell your people, however you do that through your social media, your online TVs or radios, your TV shows or your radio shows, your newspapers, your blogs, and get the message out, all right? Sasa tunaingia kwenye fireside chat, and we'll have it with Mihayo Wilmore, and we'll be talking about the impact of emerging technologies, that is the artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, machine learning, etc., in our daily lives. And it's about emerging technologies and the media. This we're going to talk about the cryptocurrencies, we're going to talk about the Bitcoin and all of that, all those things that are going to replace all of it. And this session will be with Evans Bukuku and Mihayo Wilmore, who's the digital advisor from Habari Hub Nchini Communications Limited. A round of applause.
Karibu sana. I hope umejiandaa vizuri.
Here, let me pass on my mic.
This is very informal, by the way. If you have any questions, please write them down, and we'll be taking the mics around the audience. Kwa hiyo kama na maswali yoyote yale, because ni mambo ambayo mengi yanajadiliwa sasa hivi. Mihayo, karibu.
Asante.
Tumesikia mengi sana.
Naam.
Na tumeona hapo Mwananchi Communications pale Habari Hub.
Ndio.
Just tell us in short what it is that you actually do pale. You've got a very different operation than other media houses.
Yes. Pale Mwananchi Communication kama miaka 10 iliyopita walianza na digital transformation. Kwa maana nyingine ni teke linalokujia, yani teknolojia. Kwa hivyo walianza na kudigitalize newsroom yao na kuhakikisha kwamba unapoandaa story zako zinakuja, zinachakatwa, zingine zinaenda online, zingine zinaenda kwenye print press. Kwa hivyo wakatoka from a medium company to a media company, yani the singular to the plural, meaning kwamba walitoka tu kwenye magazeti print press wakaenda online. So walivyoenda online, kuna kitu kama social media kikatokea, ambao ni kina Twitter, kina WhatsApp, kina Facebook na vitu kama hivyo. Sasa how do you integrate that and also be able to sell a newspaper the next day? So that transformation took place. 2 years ago, they decided that they wanted to do a little bit more. Tunataka kufanya zaidi. Kwa sababu tukikumbuka website zetu, monetization ilikuwa inatokea tu kwenye upande wa matangazo. Kwa hivyo unaweka website yako, unaweka tangazo, kwa hivyo linalolipia na kuendesha ile department yako ya online.
Yes.
Sasa hiyo haikutosha. Kwa sababu unakuta kama YouTube unaweka tangazo au unaweka content, ile content baada ya upate hits 1,000,000 ndio unakuja unalipa chochote. Ukienda Instagram utaweka ndani yako, unachopata in terms of revenue ni kwamba unapata likes, haulipwi hela taslim. So wakasema kwamba how is it hizi kampuni za nje kama Instagram, WhatsApp zinatengeneza hela, lakini sisi tunaweka hivi vitu lakini tunachopata ni kidogo sana. Nadhani watu wa kwenye magazeti au kwenye media companies mnajua, unaweka mwimbo wako au unaweka content yako, interview yako umeifanyia kazi, labda imecost labda 2,000,000, 3,000,000. Alafu mwisho wa mwezi unaambiwa umepata labda shilingi 50,000, au ukiwa una bahati kama Milidayo unaweza ukapata 2,000,000, 3,000,000. Sasa how then do we transform that? So they created an innovation hub, ambayo hiyo innovation hub kazi yake ni digital journalism. Kwa hivyo digital journalism meaning what? Chochote kile ambacho kinachohusu content. So Mwananchi today is a content company. And what unataka kuipromote, kwa mfano e-gazeti. E-gazeti sio mali ya Mwananchi. Ila ni Mwananchi amepartner na Dau Technologies, ambayo ni kampuni ambayo iko Ubungo, ambayo imetengeneza app ambayo inaweza ikaweka vitu kama hivyo. So kuna program mbalimbali ambazo ziko kwenye content ambazo sisi tunasaidia, lakini kikubwa tulichofanya ni kwamba tumeingia ubia na mitandao yote ya simu. Kwa hivyo wewe unapokuja pale sio lazima uwe na wasiwasi ya kwamba pay bill number sijui nini. Hiyo yote hiyo tumeshaifanya sisi.
Okay. Mwongee kwa kirefu sana hapo.
Kifupi. Umeuliza swali.
Because one of the questions, one of the apps ambazo nimeziona kama hiyo e-gazeti inayokuwezesha tu kununua gazeti kupitia app.
Ndio.
Lakini nirudi nyuma kidogo.
Naam.
Right now the pace at which you adopt new platforms.
Yes.
Mara kwanza ilivyokuja Facebook ni kwamba Facebook was quite simple. Yani kuna picha pale, kuna images, kuna video kidogo na basi.
Ndio.
Muda unavyoenda Facebook kama Facebook, ndani ya Facebook kuna mitandao inayojitegemea, kuna Messenger, kuna Facebook Watch na kadhalika. Sasa baada ya usembuzi tujiangalia masuala ya Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Kwa hiyo tunauliza adoption ya new platforms. Uharaka. Because technology allows us, because they are there through third-party platforms. How do you quickly switch? And how do you choose which ones to adopt with?
You really don't have a choice on which one to adopt with. Lazima uangalie kitu kinaitwa omni channels. Omni channels ndio hizo channel mbalimbali. Huwezi kusema kwamba mimi leo hii kwa sababu na subscribers wako Facebook sitakuwepo TikTok. Lazima uende ufungue TikTok account, afu ukajenga subscribers wako kule, kwa sababu subscriber wa TikTok sio subscriber wa Facebook. Kwa mfano hapa wewe Evans, I'm sure kwenye Facebook una subscribers wengi.
Ni kweli, umejuaje?
Kwa sababu ya umri wako.
Ala.
Lakini kwenye TikTok hata 10 hawafiki.
Wamezidi kidogo.
Wamezidi kidogo.
12.
12. Umeona? Kwa sababu ya umri wako. Sasa kama unataka new markets, unataka 15 to 25, lazima uhame. Kabla ya Facebook tulikuwa tuna high five.
Yes.
Iko wapi? MySpace. Sasa hizo zote unakuta kwamba ziko nchi za nje. Lakini sisi kama Watanzania lazima tutengeneze platform zetu wenyewe ambazo zitaturuhusu wale wateja wetu kuendelea kubaki hapa. Kwa sababu kumbuka kwamba kuna issue ya regulation. I'm glad yupo ndugu yangu Nungu hapa ambaye anaweza akakwambia kwamba upande wa regulation ni kwamba sisi hatuna control kwamba Facebook itafungiwa kesho au Twitter itafungiwa kesho. Kama high five ilikufa, kwa nini Facebook isife? Sasa kwa sisi wenyewe hapa Tanzania tuna mitandao yetu ipi ambayo, au tuseme tuna platform zetu zipi ambazo tunaweza kuendelea kuzitumia, ambazo ndo zinakuingia kwenye haya mambo ya artificial intelligence. Umeona? Au machine learning. Umeona? Kwa sababu hatuwezi kukuza machine learning au artificial intelligence kama wewe umejenga subscriber base yako kwenye YouTube, alafu kesho YouTube serikali ya Marekani inasema kwamba no more YouTube, au tunaifunga hiyo biashara.
Na umezungumza vizuri kuhusiana na issue ya machine learning, kwa sababu tukianza kuangalia let's say zile rumors ya kwamba labda Urusi uliingilia kidogo masuala ya uchaguzi wa Marekani kupitia kutumia mitandao na data mining kwa ujumla, hadi scandal ya kampuni ya Cambridge Analytica, kwamba nyinyi kama taasisi ya uandishi wa habari ambayo inapaswa kuwa straight na traditional method ya kuacquire information ni ana kwa ana, sasa hivi na media vile vile wamekuwa ni watu wa kuchukua third party information ambao wakati mwingine kuhakiki ni ngumu zaidi. How do you balance that as a media house?
Labda niongelee kidogo machine learning au tuseme artificial intelligence. Unajua artificial intelligence ni kwamba ni kama akili zetu zilizokuwemo ndani ya hiki chumba. Wewe Evans una njia yako ya kufikiria ambayo mtu mwingine amesema kwamba mimi kama programmer nataka kudocument njia yangu ya kufikiria kwa sababu nadhani hii njia yangu ya kufikiria ndio sahihi. Si ndio? Lakini yule anayetengeneza ile, nimemsikia mama hapa kutoka UN Women. Si ndio? On a global basis, what is the participation of AI and machine learning in terms of women who are developing those platforms? Which means that most AI platforms in the world kiujumla zinafikiria mfumo dume, kwa sababu wale waanzilishi walikuwa ni wanaume na wale ambao bado wanaendelea kukaa kwenye ule wigo ni wanaume. Kwa hivyo machine learning au AI haiwezi kufikiria mfumo wa kike.
Because you have a natural bias.
It has a natural bias. Sasa that natural bias inaenda mpaka kwa mfano tuseme kwa upande wa race, ambayo sio kitu ambacho tunapenda kuangalia. Kwa mfano wewe leo Evans ukaingia Marekani, wakawa wanatafuta, unatakiwa kwamba mashine inatakiwa kukuruhusu wewe kupita. Ile mashine iliyotengenezwa, kuna Waafrika wangapi waliparticipate ili kuweka sura yako?
Hapo sasa.
Si ndio? Kwa hivyo wewe ukipita tu pale, wewe na Mihayo hamna tofauti. Kwa sababu haina hiyo knowledge.
Random check lazima ihusike.
Random check lazima usikwe, lazima Kpi check nayo inaweza ikahusika kwa sababu umefanana na Hassan Bilal. Umeona? Kwa hivyo mwisho wa siku hivi vitu ni muhimu. Kwa hivyo sisi kama Mwananchi Communication tumeangalia upande wa lugha ya Kiswahili. Kwa mfano unavyoenda Google ukasema kwamba Livingstone, si ndio? Itakujibu nini?
Jiwe linaloishi.
Jiwe linaloishi. Sio yule Livingstone aliyosema kwamba alitugundua sisi. Si ndio? So at the end of the day, kwenye lugha ya Kiswahili machine learning inatumika vipi? So kwa taasisi ya Kiswahili, how can we then adopt the native language of Kiswahili and the culture of Kiswahili? Tumeongelea Kiswahili, lakini je, Kisukuma, Kinyakyusa? Kinyakyusa ni kwamba ukiongea hapa ni maneno matatu tofauti.
Ni kweli.
But they sound the same.
True.
So in all of those essence, you're missing out in
cultural context.
Cultural context, and also preserving those cultures for future generations.
So it's more about trying to make sure we control or at least dominate the narrative before it's dominated on our behalf.
Correct.
Tunarudi kwenye ndugu yetu Trump.
Yes.
Fake news, because you're in news.
Yes.
Again, how are you controlling it as a media, a recognized and respectable media institution?
Okay, so that you don't need technology. That you need policies and procedures, which Mwananchi, as part of Nation Media Group, was established in the 1960s in Kenya under the Aga Khan Group. And then today we're sitting here, Mwananchi Communication is 20 plus years in Tanzania. So in that we've harnessed processes and procedures whereby our journalists come in, there's sub-editors, and so what we're doing now is basically digitalizing that process, saying that our editors and our sub-editors can be able to, through a digital platform, preview anywhere they are in Tanzania a document and then approve it for print. And this lowers the number of mistakes that are made. We also have a system whereby we have a Kpi checking, meaning kwamba kwa mfano spelling mistakes, naming mistakes, pale ambapo unapunguza zile barua za kumradhi. Kwa hivyo a checker which goes through and then tracks, just like the way you track a normal employee anawahi kuingia ofisini anachelewa, lakini a journalist sio lazima aingie ofisini. Kwa hivyo what you want to check for them is errors that they're making in their grammar, etc., and then that goes down to this is a good journalist, this is a bad journalist. And we can use machine learning and AI for those sorts of things. And as the systems are being used, we're gathering that data. Kwa mfano, kwenye kitu kama e-gazeti, tunajua topics gani watu wanasoma zaidi. Kwa mfano, ukiweka topic kuhusu, let's say, assault and battery, then you see that those topics are read more versus, let's say, a topic about the depth of technology in Tanzania. Umeona? So we read the topics and then we see the readership. And in time that becomes something that informs us in what types of content that our readers prefer and our readers like to read.
All right, thank you. Regarding last year, there were many opportunities for innovators to pivot based on the reaction of the global COVID pandemic. And, you know, traveling, information flow, even just in the workplace, there are so many limitations.
Yes.
How did Habari,
Habari Hub.
Habari Hub pivot on this particular scenario?
I think if we go back, I think first there was a scare that everything is going to shut down, but what we did first is we came up with a way to mitigate, risk mitigation. Every company has risk mitigation measures. So we made sure that our journalists were able to work from home as much as possible. But there's certain aspects of our business that cannot work from home. For example, physically printing that newspaper cannot work from home. Distribution of the newspaper could not work from home. So we put in mitigation measures kwamba ikitokea kwamba there is a full lockdown, kutakuwa kuna shifts labda za wiki mbili on site. Kwa hivyo tukaweka vitu mbalimbali pale ambavyo vilikuwa vinaweza kusustain anywhere from water to biscuits to everything else. Ikitokea kwamba, let's say for example, mmoja wetu ikatokea kwamba that became an epicenter and we were shut down, that we were able to sustain that. That's number one. We went out and we made relationships. But the biggest thing that we did is we made sure that our network, kwa sababu kumbuka internet is the biggest thing that we needed to keep our business going in terms of information. Our networks were actually up and running. Of course, we don't, as Mwananchi Communication, we don't own a Vodacom or a Raha. So what we did is we made sure we talked to our partners and made sure that they were able to ensure that we had links to critical employees and hotspots. So for example, there's certain hotspots in Dar es Salaam that we identified that these are key areas that sio lazima utoke Mbezi Beach ufike mpaka Tabata kufanya kazi. Unaweza ukafika, let's say for example, Epidor. So these hotspots, or unaweza ukafika mpaka Shoppers, ukakaa ndani ya gari yako ukaweza kutuma information to the center.
All right, that's very interesting. Sasa, before we invite questions about Habari Hub, how it operates within Mwananchi Communications Limited, kwenye issue ya blockchain
yes,
technology, tumesikia ma cryptocurrency, tumesikia blockchain. Naomba uweze kuidadavua kidogo.
Kuidadavua.
Kuielezea kwa kina kidogo tu ili watu waelewe kwanza, afu ndio tuendelee na maswali mengine.
Okay. Nadhani blockchain ni teknolojia, ni kama vile kusema artificial intelligence au machine learning. It's actually not very new. Kwa sisi wa zamani tulikuwa tuna kitu kinaitwa Napster. Napster used a concept of file sharing. Kwamba kompyuta yako ghafla inabadilika inakuwa shareable on the network. Kwa mfano, unavokaa ofisini kwamba there's a print server that uses the same concept of file sharing. Now, blockchain, the only difference is that each computer keeps a file or a record of that. Kwa hivyo kama mimi nilikuwa na share file na wewe, si ndio? Wewe kompyuta yako itabaki na file na mimi ya kwangu itabaki na file of the most recent replication. Ile kompyuta yako ikifa, bado huku kuna copy. So this becomes very useful in terms of authentication na mambo ya fraud. Si ndio? Kwa hivyo kwa mfano mimi na copy, wewe una copy, yule ana copy na yule kule ana copy. Ya kitu kile kile. Mimi nikisema kwamba, let's say for example ni title deed, si ndio? Mimi nimepoteza title deed yangu au nimekufa. It means that ile title deed kuna mtu mwingine kwenye system anayo copy ya title deed yangu. Kwa hivyo hamna tena wizi wa kiwanja kwamba ili transfer kutoka kwa nani ikaenda kwa nani ikaenda kwa nani. That is the blockchain, the technology. Cryptocurrency inatumia blockchain ili iweze kuhakikisha kwamba Tigo pesa yangu niliyotuma mimi, wewe ukisema kwamba sikukutumia, hata huyu anaweza akaja kama shahidi. Yani tuchukulie kwamba ni mfumo kama wa mahakama ya ushahidi. Kwamba wewe huwezi kusema kwamba sikukutumia ile transaction, kuna mtu kule naye anaweza akaja akasema no, that transaction was done. So blockchain haipigwi vita kama technology. Kinachopigwa vita ni cryptocurrency. Kwa sababu cryptocurrency haina regulatory framework ya kama BOT au wale Federal Reserve wa Marekani. Lakini wewe kama kampuni, kwa mfano Tigo Pesa au M-Pesa au Airtel Money, zote zinaweza zikatumia blockchain kwenye system yake yenyewe individually, ili kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba hakuna wizi na kuna replication of data.
Okay, so kwenye blockchain naomba nifananishe, tuna mfano ambao ni simple kidogo zaidi ambao imepata mafanikio sana kwa Tanzania.
Yes.
Na mfano wenyewe ni vikoba. Kwa maana kwamba let's say mmekusanyika wanawake wachache watano.
Yes.
Kila mmoja anajua kwamba tumechukua pesa kwa mkopo. Tumeweka pesa, si ndio? Ambao kila mmoja amechangia kiasi fulani na kuna ledger na kila mmoja na ledger yake ambazo zinafanana huko. Na huwa mna update kwa wakati mmoja.
Yes.
Si ndio?
Yes.
Endapo sasa mmoja amechukua mkopo ndani ya jumuisho yenu, vikoba yenu, kundi lenu,
yes,
basi kila mmoja naandika kwa mmoja amechukua shilingi 100,000.
Yes.
Si ndio? Na wote sasa wana update kwamba yaliyobakia ni kiasi hiki. Is that the same kind of?
It's the same thing, lakini utamu unakuja wapi? Yule treasurer yule mweka hazina yule akienda akahesabu afu tukakuta 10,000 iko missing na haijatokea anywhere in the ledgers, who is liable for ile shilingi 10,000? Sio simshika pesa. Exactly. Au yule mshika pesa na waliomsindikiza kwenda kuleta kwenye kikoba wanahusika. So it's a level of transparency ambayo inasaidia kwenye utandawazi.
So number 1 is security.
It's security.
Number 2 tuongelee speed.
Speed, yes.
Because hata vikoba lazima wakutane physically.
Yes.
Waongee hivi, si ndio?
Yes.
Lakini this one now because iko mtandaoni in advantage.
Yes.
Ya uharaka.
Yes, not only that, not advantage ya uharaka. Pale ambapo ile system inatumika, ledger yangu mimi inakuwa replicated. Kwa hivyo hata kama nikiwa offline ya JP pale itakuwa updated. Kwa hivyo naweza nikaenda kwa JP nikamwambia kwamba embu niangalie upande wako wewe. Umenielewa? Tofauti na kwamba lile litabu la kikoba yule mweka hazina analo, yule ndio anaandika na anatoa. Kwa hivyo you can fudge the data on that physical document. Sasa when you then put it in an electronic format kwamba ile hela hatuchangi physically, tunachanga kwa kielektronikia, it becomes even more transparent. Look at it from a different perspective, ambayo ni tatizo kubwa zaidi kwa Tanzania, warehouse receipts. Kwa mkulima, mimi nimelima mpunga wangu, nimepeleka kwenye galo, si ndio? Siku ya mimi kutaka kuuza mpunga wangu naambia kwamba magunia yangu hayapo. Blockchain inasaidia kwamba ule mpunga ukitoka tu, if it is a QR code, it is scanned. Si ndio? Or it could even have an electronic tag more sophisticated like they do bandarini. Which means that the minute ule mzigo ukitoka kwenye ile ring fenced area, napata message kwamba mzigo wako umetoka. Kwa hivyo immediately napiga bana vipi? Mbona mzigo wangu unatoka na mimi sija authenticate kwamba nataka kuuza?
Mara kwanza same kind of technology lakini tumezoea traditional systems of banking.
Yes.
Na ikaja mobile money ambayo ikani inaruhusu mwananchi wa kawaida ambaye yuko mbali kabisa,
yes,
kupata access kwa funds.
Yes.
Kupata access ya at least kukua in the money system, si ndio?
Correct.
Na kulikuwa kuna uoga kidogo. Banks zingine zinaangalia kwamba itakuwaje, regulators wana wasiwasi na hatakuwa na mifano mingi ya So in this same scenario, who do you see as being directly affected kwenye issues za blockchain technologies?
Uzuri ni kwamba kwenye blockchain technologies, the person who will be directly affected the most, kama akisinzia, ni mobile operators na banks. Kwa sababu kumbuka kwamba mkulima ni mfanyabiashara, mama ntilie ni mfanyabiashara, kikoba ni mfanyabiashara. So mwisho wa siku, those are new customers that are not in the banking system. Those are new customers that the likes of Vodacom, Tigo do not see physically.
Access to finance.
Access to finance. So now, once those people come in with fintechs, umenielewa? Kwa mfano kulikuwa kuna mtu anaitwa Tala, alikuwa anatoa vimikopo, alikuwa anatumia blockchain vizuri sana, kwa sababu anatumia blockchain na machine learning. Anaenda anachakatua, anajua kwamba huyu nilimkopesha afa atarudisha 24 hours later, atakukopesha, ataongeza credit rating yako na vitu kama hivyo. All things remaining equal, si ndio? The banks and the mobile operators were behind the ball on that particular technology, because it was moving much quicker than regulation, much quicker than they could adopt to it, and they didn't see it coming. So imagine now comes a farmer app or innovation from HDIF that does exactly that, that is sanctioned by the government through FSDT. What happens next? All the farmers jump on in cashew. To adopt it into cotton is instantly. To adopt it into rice is instantly. Umeona? So the main issue is how do you stay in front of the ball? And constantly, innovators like those in this room are always in front of the ball. It is usually 2 to 3 to 5 years later that government, big institutions react. And that is why Mwananchi has Habari Hub. We are there to tell them, hey, this might not be interesting right now, but in 10 years' time, this is the way to go. So let's invest a little bit of money, 3% of our revenue, 1% of our revenue, to grow this particular technology.
Excellent, thank you so much. We'll introduce just a few questions, a few quick questions from the audience. Yeah? This is just a taster. I can see Austin pale, tafadhali naomba volunteers wetu watusaidie. Na mwingine ambaye ana swali tafadhali tutanyosha mkono, and then we'll allow you to at least ask your question.
Niwashukuru sana. Austin Capital. Napenda kuuliza Miayo, Mwananchi, mnafanya kazi nzuri sana na nimefurahi kwamba umesema mnashirikiana. Mimi naomba niulize kwa sababu hii ni semina kwetu sisi waandishi wa habari na wote ambao wameshiriki kwenye semina ya waandishi, symposium ya waandishi wa habari. Tuna kasumba gani? Question is, tuna kasumba gani Tanzania ya kuembrace vya kwetu? Tunaongelea ubunifu mzuri sana, na endapo hatutaendelea kuthamini vitu vya kwetu, bado kitabaki kile kitu cha Bukuku, kile kitu cha Miayo, kile kitu cha Makani. Lakini tuna kasumba gani sisi wa Tanzania kuembrace vya kwetu? Nilikuwa na consult hapa. Kwa mfano China wana Google Drive yao, wana WeChat yao. Tumeongelea hapo mambo ya high five ambapo vimesha phase out. Lakini sisi, kwa swali langu ni kidogo general, lakini ningependa kupata maoni yenu ili tukitoka hapa kama waandishi tujue kama alivyosema Dr. Nungu kwamba sisi ni mabalozi. Tuna jukumu la kuvijua vya kwetu, kuvikumbatia vya kwetu, kwa sababu akija mtu mgeni hapa akilaunch product yake, wote tutairukia kuona kwamba ni bora au superior kuliko za kwetu. Naomba ili tuweze kwenda sambamba na waandishi wenzangu. Asante.
Okay. Nadhani kitu kikubwa ambacho siku zote wanasema mcheza ngoma hutunzwa kwao, si ndio? Lakini lazima ile ngoma isikike, na hicho kitu sisi kama Habari Hub ndio kitu kikubwa tulichokiuza kwenye bodi yetu ya Tanzania na bodi ya group, kwamba the issue is not that there is no innovation in this country. There is a lot of innovation. The problem is who knows about it. It can only go as far as you walk. Yani milango ambayo unaweza ukagonga hodi, si ndio? Costech kulikuwa kuna DTBI, nadhani bado ipo, kulikuwa Tanza ICT, kuna Buni Hub, kuna hubs nyingi. Lakini nani anaipiga ile ngoma? Ndakupa mfano. Wenzetu Kenya wanapiga ngoma yao louder than sisi tunapiga. Na ndio maana it was very easy to establish Habari Hub, kwa sababu wewe unavoleta product yako pale, sisi tunaanza kuipigia ngoma upande wa marketing. Wengi wetu humu ndani ukisema kwamba innovate, unampata wapi mwandishi wa habari? Mwandishi wa habari ana priorities zake. Pale anatakiwa kuongea na wewe, rais ana launch kitu sehemu fulani. Kwa hivyo ataweka nini kwenye gazeti? Atamweka rais au atakuweka wewe jumanahawa.com? Umeona? So at the end of the day, what Habari Hub provides you is a marketing budget for you to be able to go to market. You might be able to create this widget, but can you afford 80, 90, 100 million shillings to push this product into the market so 100 million Tanzanians or 50 million Tanzanians or 10 million Tanzanians or the whole globe? Mwananchi Communication has 22 million viewers on all its websites. Sawa. It has a YouTube channel. It has a Twitter chat handle. In all of those, when you partner with us, we push your product on all those channels. Umeona? That is the difference.
The ability to evolve your product kwa haraka zaidi ni scalability, si ndio?
Exactly.
Na access to finance. Last question, please. I'm sorry. Tutapata nyingine kumuuliza binafsi. He'll be here and the whole of Innovation Week.
Yes.
There'll be availability. Utatuambia lini utapatikana. Just one last question, please, before we move on to our fireside chat.
I'm being told I shouldn't be asking the question. Iku has a question, so can we have 2 questions, Evans? John
really
Poveretto,
quick. Yeah.
HDIF, I'm cheating here. But Mihayo, asante sana, you talked about blockchain effortlessly and provided some really powerful examples of how they can transform agriculture and land ownership in Tanzania. Swali yangu ni kwamba, when we look at ideals, it's amazing. What are the first 3 things you would do to make sure that blockchain can be used successful in agriculture in Tanzania?
Okay. The first thing that you need to do whenever you're adopting any new technology is to create some sort of standards in education. You need to institute these things into universities, high schools, even primary schools. I mean, I have a niece who's 6 years old. She's already got a certificate in robotics and tinkering with robots. Sasa usipomwanzisha mtoto chini huku kabisa, itakuwa ni vigumu sana kwa yule mtoto kuadopt. Kwa hivyo tuanze mwanzo, na nadhani COSTECH pamoja na serikali ya Tanzania imejaribu sana kuanza huku chini kabisa. You know, Code Like a Girl, D-Labs, zote zile ni innovations ambazo zimeanza kule. Lakini once you do that, you need to also start documenting those things and documenting those successes and using those successes and creating tools or objects. Tunasema kwa mfano enzi zangu mimi tulikuwa tunasema object oriented programming. Kwa hivyo mimi naweza nikatengeneza object hii, lakini anakuja mtu mwingine anatengeneza object on top. Kwa mfano, nawapa mfano mfupi. Sasa hivi vijana wengi wanasema kwamba Python is an AI programming tool. Mimi old school nakwambia no, Python is scripting, kwa sababu chini ya Python kuna lugha zinaitwa Algol, kuna lugha zinaitwa Pascal ambazo hazifundishwi, COBOL ambazo hazifundishwi shule. Umeona? Kwa hivyo at the university level we need to go one step further to away from the popular stuff and go down into the nitty-gritties of the deep machine learning. Umeelewa? Ni kama vile mtu unasema kwamba nataka nyumba lakini hujui msingi wako umejengwa na nini. So we need to go down to that level so that we have a good understanding, so then we can develop another tangent of maybe a language called, I don't know, AI Sukuma, AI Nyakyusa, or something like that.
I think like all those 3 questions, excellent. Right now, I'm sorry, we're just bound for time. Thank you so much. You've given us a great insight. Please, Makofta Valley Kwake, Mihayo Wilmo.
Round of applause for Mihayo Wilmo, Digital Advisor, Habari Hub, Mwananchi Company Limited, Communications Limited. How are we feeling? Huh? Hey, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. I'm Kenny. Kumekucha. Kumenini? Kumekucha. Kila moja, your eyesight is getting Putin phones and TV. All right, let's stretch. Right hand going all the way to the left side. No, you faked it. We're doing it one more time. We're going to do this together, okay? In unison, all right? So, right hand is here. And it's going all the way to the left side. Stay there. I didn't say drop. I just said stay there. Stay there, stay there, stay there. Say mama.
Mama.
Baba.
Baba.
Dada. Kaka.
Kaka.
HDIF. I didn't say stop. HDIF.
HDIF.
All right, drop. All right. So left hand all the way to right. Say kaka.
Kaka.
Baba.
Baba.
Mama.
Mama.
Now, you're not going to drop. Wait. You're not going to drop until someone can tell me what this theme is in Swahili. We're not going to drop. Raise one. Until someone gets this theme in Swahili. You can, okay, say it. Don't drop.
Okay. Ubunifu wa uchumi kidigitali ambao ni shirikishi na wenye ustahimilivu.
She saved you guys. Drop. All right, thank you. Thank you. You can have her seat now. You can have her seat.
Utakotuua hapo.
I know.
Ni stahimilivu na jumuishi.
There you go. Thank you very much. We're just about to get into the other session. This is this moderate session here. Okay? And I would love to introduce you, come and join me, a representative from Unicef. Karibu sana. Here we're talking about innovation and women and girls. Okay? Karibu. Yes, feel free. And I'd like to introduce somebody from UN Women. We had a representative from UN Women. Karibu sana. And Seagull Family Foundation, SFF. Please, karibu sana. I'll have you here. All right. UN Women here. And Tigo. Do you have somebody from Tigo? Tigo. All right. Okay. Just for gender balance, SAF, just let him sit here so you can sit there because we're already so many men. Just for gender balance. Kidogo too. Kidogo, let's have a switch. We haven't heard him. Come. Yeah? And then but everybody should have a mic. Evans, please facilitate us with the microphone for the lady there. Okay. I think we're good. Now, this session here, it's innovation and women and girls. And here we're looking at the grassroots innovators and children. Okay? How can we innovate and move faster without leaving anyone behind? Kidogo tajaribu kuzungumzia kwa Kiswahili. Hii panel hapa tutakuwa nazungumza kuhusu ubunifu na akina mama na wasichana. O wanawake na wasichana, sio kila mama anataka kujulikana kama kina mama, lakini wanawake na wasichana, ambapo tunaangalia kwenye nyanja za chini, wale ambao wanafanya masuala ya ubunifu na watoto. Sasa tunawezaje kufanya ubunifu au kuongeza ubunifu kwenda kwa kasi zaidi na tusimwache mtu yoyote? Kwa sababu unajua kwenye masuala ya kidunia na zile tunasema zile Sustainable Development Goals SDGs au malengo endelevu ni kwamba hatutaki kumwacha mtu yote nyuma, si ndio? Leave no one behind. So in that case you're looking at women and children who are always left behind, or always affected by some of these things that are ongoing around the world. Sasa tunawezaje kuhakikisha kwamba inakuwa jumuishi, inclusive, and including women and girls? Sikumbuki nani alikuwa anazungumza pale, nafikiri ilikuwa kutoka UN Women, sikumbuki ni nani, lakini alizungumza vizuri sana au vyema kuhusiana na wanawake wabunifu au wasichana wabunifu. Wasichana wangapi kwenye mashule yao wanafanya masuala ya ubunifu au sayansi? Na jana tulikuwa tunazungumza na rafiki yangu Joseph kwenye mkutano brief, na nakumbuka kumwambia kwamba masuala ya sayansi au teknolojia, kwa nini wanaume au vijana au watoto wa kiume wanakuwa wanafanya sana? Kwa sababu watoto wa kiume wanakuwa wanabuni zaidi. Kama ulikuwa kwenye ile generation ambayo tulikuwa sisi, nafikiri wengi walikuwepo, tulikuwa tunatengeza magari, si ndio? Ambapo unapata magurudumu yatengenezwa kutoka zile visoda. Bodi ya gari imetengenezwa kutoka ile mkebe labda wa jam au wa nini, si ndio? Sana ilikuwa vulana, wanawake tulikuwa jikoni, tulikuwa nini, labda tukibuni tunabuni tu vyakula. So why is that? Why are we being left behind? And I really can say I have got, even when I look at my children, I have a boy and a girl, I see the boy does crazier things in terms of innovation and getting into something, craziest thing and coming up with different things than the girl. But they have an equal opportunity. Why is that? Is it in our DNA? Is it in our upbringing? What is it in? So I will start with UNICEF because you do the children and you can give us just a brief on that. And then I will go straight on to Tigo. I haven't heard Tigo speak, and then we can move on by that. Karibu to this session. We're talking about innovation in women and girls, grassroots innovation, innovators and children. There's the microphone for you. Karibu sana.
Hello? Thank you. So I guess first and foremost, thank you. Thank you very much for having UNICEF participating in this panel. And it's quite an interesting question. Why is it that we have these differences? And UNICEF has indeed a very equitable approach to programming, right? We try to make sure that children achieve their full potential, all children. Now, we do understand that there is a gap. There's a divide. There's a divide in technology. There's a divide in gender. Boys, I guess socially, tend to be more exposed to some of the technology. I guess you and women will be able to delve more into that. But it is true. And if you look at the trend, boys have more access to devices and to technology than girls. Okay? So how do we position ourselves in that type of situation? UNICEF fosters a bit of, I'd say, positive discrimination, trying to get girl-centric type of programs to be able or to enable girls to access the same opportunities which they're not having now. So as an example, we see, for example, in our SMS platform, You Report, we have a gender gap. We have about 60% of boys versus 40% of girls. So what have we done? We've launched a specific tailored campaign for girls. We want to hear more of female girls' voices. So we do that. We work, as I told in the opening remarks, in partnership, for example, with the Innovation of Dar es Salaam. And the Innovation of Dar es Salaam has now done a program called Smart Girls. It's part of our partnership for girls in secondary school, and they've trained about 400, if I'm not mistaken, in human-centered design and technology. And it specifically focuses on girls. The other thing that we do is to make sure, or to the extent possible, try to get young people involved in these solutions. So the trainers of these girls are actually the university students who have been trained themselves and creating a bit of a cascade effect where the innovation stays local and relevant to those who participate in the programs. And that's one of the, I guess we could spend all day long here, but that's one of the strategies that we do use to get more girls involved into technology and to get more, I would say, equal access and promoting equal opportunities to innovate and to access technology.
All right, thank you very much. Do you agree that answer, Tigo? And on that note, maybe you could also tell us in your digital department, which is almost like everything that you do, what is the ratio between the men and women? You've got a ratio here of 60% boys who text more often and 40% girls, and now they're working on a program. We've got 400 girls who are coming in. But you can give us from your side as Tigo, how many women are in your tech department and who deal with the digital tech and software? Karibu sana. Push it up to the top. Yes.
Hello.
Yes,
Okay.
we're good.
Thank you. I think as we've heard, the challenge starts from the beginning of, let's say, when kids are younger. Somehow, it's generally, we have a difference between boys and girls. As you've said, maybe it is in the DNA, but as we are developing in innovation and coming up with different product services and making sure everybody is connected. So we are coming to a point where we are reducing that differentiation at the beginning, though it still exists. So you have kids, you have a boy and a girl, you have boys who will be more into tech than girls, but with all these innovations that are coming up, we're also having girls into technology. So from our side, maybe on the schools programs, we've had a number of programs where we're supporting girls in innovation. We are working with several government schools, especially girls' schools, to provide access to the internet, to communication, to encourage girls to take up more science subjects and giving them some practical activities as part of their learnings. But as they grow up, of course, the numbers keep getting lower and lower and lower. I think also it is an assumption that girls, we don't like complicated stuff. And once you get somebody who is into tech, if they really take it up, they will become stars as they come in. So we have quite a number of, let's say we have a program for graduate program. We're bringing in young people who have just finished school, and here we have, it's boys and girls at the same time, giving both equal opportunities. But if you have the girls who have actually excels in technology, they're amazing. So they become more creative. I would say this from our examples in Tigo. So you have the girls who have actually gone into the IT, into the innovation. They become more creative as compared to the guys. Though the numbers are still low, you will have them along the way, they stop and not come to that level. But once you have them, and when we get them in our graduate program, we really encourage them to keep innovating, and we see amazing stuff from ladies. Not that we don't see from guys, but ladies become a bit more innovative at that stage when they're given an opportunity at the job level.
I asked you a question about Tigo. Can you give us, what is the ratio?
So we have, it would be, in terms of IT, we have 30-70. So we have about 30% of ladies who are in IT. 70 is still men.
Male-dominated. Okay, so I would think, and correct me if I'm wrong, ladies, I would think, and also guys, I would think women, we are so into detail. We are so particular into detail that I would think if you were to create apps or some sort of technology, would have looked at all angles. It just goes by way of saying, and men can agree here with me, how we follow a story through. You would hardly ever lie to a woman. You said you went where? At 10. Oh, okay. 9:55, you said you're with John. You know, we hardly forget this thing. So I can imagine that if we were to come up with something handy, we would have looked at all corners of something. And that brings me to you and women. Why does gender inclusion matter when it comes to innovation and technology? I mean, why are we just not looking at it as it doesn't matter if it was done by a man or a woman? Why then are we now lifting the women or the girls' hands up at this point? Why are we making it a gender issue? You need to switch it on to the very top. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll go directly in responding to that. Why are we making it a gender issue? I think, as I alluded to earlier on, the reason why we are seeing women should also be part of this is because of the opportunities that are really brought by technology, by digitalization. So it's very important to ensure that women as well are not left behind, because they are equal players in the economy. And of course, we understand there are already some hurdles that women are experiencing, even when you're not talking about digitalization, you're not talking about technology. So here comes, and I think our colleague from UNDP mentioned earlier on, that technology is coming in as an enabler. So if we all agree that this is an enabler and it will actually enhance the performance of different economic units, but not only economic, social, so to say, for instance, education. So this makes it very mandatory to ensure that women who have always been left behind in a number of issues, they're also part of technology as users, but also as designers. And I think the reason also why majority of the women have not been there initially is due to the norms and traditions that exist in our societies. There is also a big issue of unpaid care, work and time poverty, which also brings the issue of social capital, the opportunities that women will have to network, to understand what is there, what is going on the ground. So if we don't really take a look at that, we'll be leaving women behind. So it's very important that in the understanding of all these factors, and also we have a lot of women as small, medium-scale enterprises who are already struggling with a lot of existing challenges. They're struggling on the digital skills. Now, how do you want now to involve them in understanding of all the challenges that they're juggling through? So this is why it's very important, as we're speaking of the next level, to really deep dive on these issues and make sure women benefit together with men, but women and girls. My colleague from Unicef also explained onto how they're really bringing, from young ages, they're bringing girls and boys. So it's very important to ensure that we have them through towards the upper ladder And my colleague from Tigo also explained that most girls, you don't see them going more or excelling. So I think we really need to ensure women are there, but also creating role model that will entice other ladies, other women to go away with the notion that this is a male-dominated thing. So we need to really make sure we have female in this pipeline of innovators.
Asante sana. And a round of applause, please, from you and women. You're talking about grassroots innovators, which is fantastic. I'm being told that, and I know that innovation, I will use it, is now the mother of all necessities, because when you're looking for comfort, you're going to look for a simpler way to do something. And sometimes they say, get the laziest. I think it was, well, what's this guy, this rich guy, the guy who owns Virgin, Richard Branson, I think, says, get the laziest guy in the room to do the biggest job, because he'll find the easiest way to do it. And that is also one of the key things of innovation, because, I mean, yeah, that's what he means. I mean, look at it. You don't feel like going to queue in the bank. Someone comes up with an app. You're able to do your banking from where you're seated, you know? You don't want to stand up and go and switch on your television and someone makes a remote for you. You get what I mean? So get the laziest guy in the room to do something for you. But I want to look at it from the women perspective. It's not because we're lazy, but men usually simplify things more than women, and that's the truth. Women are complicated. A guy will tell you, just go straight and turn left. You'll be like, no, but see, if I go like this, I'll go and pass there, and I'll be able to get this, and then I'll go like this, and then I'll come here. And the girl will be like, okay, I just said, just go this and go left. So men simplify. Women, she talked about traditional norms. Yeah? Now, I want to go and look at it from this point of view. Are we the ones who are not enabling ourselves in terms of girls? Maybe we're shy. Maybe we're being told all the time to stay in the kitchen. Maybe we're being told all the time to be seen but not heard. Is that what she's talking about, norms and traditions? Or are we also being told by our peers, our male peers, that no, that's not a girl's thing to do? I think you remember that. Wasichana wafanyi hivi, girls shouldn't do that, girls shouldn't. So is that one of the things? Girls don't play outside with boys. What is stopping us? And we're looking at the family level. SFF, please. Karibu.
Thank you so much for that good question. And many times when you introduce yourself as a family foundation, the assumption is that we work with maybe families. But yes, we do at some point. But as I mentioned, we're just a private philanthropy. And that's such an interesting question. So a bit of a background about my foundation, which is going to sort of like, challenge your thinking and challenging the role of women and participation. And maybe we are not asking well enough. 63% of the organizations which we are investing in East Africa, which are over 230, are female-led.
Fantastic.
Seagull Family Foundation over the 10 years has driven over 100 million in investment to local innovators across East Africa. And our global team has 18 people. And out of those 18, 15 are women.
Nice.
And I need a day to talk about innovators, creators, social leaders, and different visionaries who are doing really, really awesome solutions and creating spaces and unleashing opportunities for communities to access equitable healthcare, education, productive life, and livelihood, which are women. So what I'm saying is, yes, there may be a gap, and I think most of it is culturally. I mean, it's based on our cultures. And one thing that I'd like to highlight and bring us back into the context of bringing grassroots innovations into surface is the approach. I'll give an example. I did a research with Maasai women, and they were talking about the role of women in leadership. And by then, I wasn't a Maasai woman. First and foremost, I wasn't a leader, and I was asking all these women. And I was working for a nice NGO, which was rolling, in all the panels and all cool things, advocating for rights of women. But none of them were actually Maasais. And what would happen is we'd go and tell them how their things are not working. and how some of these things, some of the research and technologies and all these other things, we the technocrats, sometimes we the funders, people with the money, come and decide this is how it should work. And then that wouldn't work. Why? Because it is not relating to the cultural context, it's not paying attention to the needs of the communities. We go and prescribe, we don't inquire and appreciate what is not working. And I think that's why when we're talking about innovation, it is really, really important to bring the context of local innovators. Maybe to help a person figure out, like, who is a local or grassroots innovation. First, it's not cool, it's rural, that's what we think. But grassroots can be anything. I think the previous speaker just spoke about having the MCL, the hub. I think that is a Tanzanian space supporting media in Tanzania.
Sure.
That is grassroots solution. I'm sure you have a lot of those.
Yes.
So by character, a local innovation or a grassroots innovation, first and foremost, it's people-centered and human-centered. Proximity matters. You need to be solving a problem that you really, really understand and you have an experience. I think it's our new language. Human-centered designing, human-centered designing. We talk about it all the time. And responding to the challenges with clear alignment to culture and values. If you want to do a digital training to girls in Da Oysterbay School or in Ifakara, these are two different places. Results may be different, excitement may be different, and outcomes may be different. And this is why it is very, very important to support local innovation. And maybe to make it much more helpful is like, how do we make grassroots innovation work? First, most of the time, you're working with local innovation and local innovators, specifically in rural setting. Passion is there, commitment is there, understanding of the challenge is there. Mm-hmm. Constituency is there. But what we lack there, most of the time, is who is going to invest to provide capital and trust these innovations to work.
Which I would like to cut you short on that, has been happening. I think one of the biggest failures is also many of these financiers do not, and I don't know why, do not trust women-led or women projects. And we had a problem with that. I remember one time doing an event where there was a female bank, a woman's bank. It wasn't doing so well because of that. I don't know how many Vicobas are supported by banks because you get, again, the same thing, So also that is not being supported. So that one could be one of the main problem because no one is ready to finance something like that. So that could be one of the reasons why we are not having a lot of women and girls innovators.
Absolutely, and local innovators or rural innovators.
Okay, I'd like to move on to UNICEF. Now, what kind of innovations, say, does UNICEF champion to drive results or finance or anyway, because you just had that problem coming in? So does UNICEF give out some funds? Does it champion something? And what sort of innovations does it do? Karibu.
Huh. Do we hand out some funds? I would say that I don't think that is the space where UNICEF should be. We're not a financing institution or a financing mechanism. Now, where I think that UNICEF positions itself is more in line, for example, with education and 21st century skills, right? So I think that in order for children to be able to participate, children and young people to be able to participate, they need those skills so that they then can build those products, so that they then are able to identify along the pipeline of investment who would be able to give out the hand and support them to take it somewhere else. Okay? So as an example, we're working... No, it's off. I guess it's just me. So for example, we do partner, for example, with an institution in Iringa, which is our labs, in which they are working with out-of-school girls, which is very hard to work with because if they're not in school, how do you find them, right? But they've been innovative in their approach.
Hold on.
Ah, man, can't do anything without a woman nearby, huh? We do, for example, with our labs, with the partnership, we do identify out of school girls. They go through a training program on these methodologies, these innovations. I think the biggest portion of the program and the most important is in empowerment, making these girls believe that they can build these products. And then they create these loan groups so that they can try and finance their own startups, right? And we would be very interested in connecting with some of the other players here that along the pipeline are more responsible for investing in these companies, okay? Another of the panels that we'll have, let me just wrap up here, this week on Monday, for example, is a partnership that we've done with the University of Dar es Salaam. And we've launched the hackathon, we've launched the challenge to university students to build SMS-based applications. Why did we go for SMS? Because we know that the majority of the population, the majority of young people, the majority of rural population do not yet have access to fancy smartphones or to connectivity, right? But they use SMS. We gave the traditional challenges, health, education, child protection, and very interestingly, the students came back with 3 different applications that didn't focus on these ones. And one of those applications, which everyone will be able to see on Monday, for example, is trying to create a job advertisement board on SMS for young people, right? And that's now, the challenge is, we've done it so far, the idea is there, the prototype is there, but who within private sector would be able to pick it up and get some of these bright minds to continue their work? Because usually and traditionally, that's not where we stand. But what did we do? We created the opportunity, we gave the skills, and now we're showcasing and pushing it forward. So this is where UNICEF would traditionally be. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Round of applause, please. Ameongelea kuhusu wanafunzi wa University of Dar es Salaam waliopatia challenge, ambapo wanafunzi walikuwa waje na kutengeza yani apps au kuja na kitu technology yote ambayo inaweza kuwa inasaidia. Wakawapatia topics, afya, elimu na masuala mengine. Lakini zile ambazo zilikuwa zimesimama kama 3 zilikuwa hazina kama 5 topics, lakini zile ambazo zilikuwa zimeshinda halikuwa hazihusiki na hizo. Ile ambayo ameuzungumzia hapa ni app ambayo ilikuwa inaweza kutumia SMS tu, ambayo ametengeza template, sio ya smartphone. Kutengeza tu template ya SMS ambayo ametengeza SMS platform ya kuapply jobs au job application, yani kutafuta kazi, ili watu wa vijijini wanaweza kuapply kazi kupitia tu SMS, kwa sababu ukiangalia graph inaonyesha watu wengi wa vijijini labda hawana connectivity, masuala ya internet, lakini pia hawana smartphone, lakini wana simu ambayo wanaweza kupokea SMS za kawaida. So I thought that was a very good idea. Talking about SMSs and platforms and phones, I am going to go to Tigo. He talks about connectivity, but how does mobile technology ensure that no one is left behind? We have an issue of connectivity in the rural areas. We're trying to say, don't leave anyone behind. So how are we reaching the women and children in the rural areas and not leaving them behind when it comes to mobile technology? Tigo, karibu sana.
Asante. So in terms of technology, how are we making sure we're not leaving anybody behind? So I would like to put this in maybe 2, 3 categories. 1 would be infrastructure, 2 would be devices, and 3 would be language and communication. So as a technology company, we are making sure we provide access. And this access is not gender exclusive. So we provide access to all Tanzanians. We are available in the entire country in, let's say, busy places and not so busy places. And furthermore, we are also working with the government on bringing communication and access to areas that would otherwise be unviable in terms of business case. So as a business, we need to make sure we are able to have a positive return on our investment, but understanding and being part of the journey to ensure we support the government initiative of ensuring everybody is given access and no one is left behind. We are partnering to make sure we have access for them through programs called UCSAF, and this is where we take access to all, let's say, the deep village areas to support men and women to be part of the to be connected for communication. And also, one of the main reasons why we have maybe women are slightly left behind is because of the price of the devices. So we have smartphones, and smartphones are quite pricey. And we understand we have women, especially in rural areas, where these are breadwinners, but they have so many things to juggle, and maybe buying a smartphone at 100K is not a priority as compared to making sure they put food on the table. Sure. So we have partnered with device manufacturers to make sure we are able to reach and create affordable devices that are 4G enabled. So as opposed to having Vitochi phones in the past that you cannot have access to internet, you just do SMS and calls. So we've brought into the market smartphones that are relatively affordable, smart Kitochi. So these are connected to the internet. They have all the socials to enable our people who have less funds to be able to be connected. So you don't have to spend so much, but you're getting all the benefits that someone else who has a high-end smartphone is getting. That is number two. And in terms of a third key area to make sure we don't leave anybody behind, I would call it communication and digital literacy. So as you know, phones in the past have been, everything has been in English. So if you are looking at the woman in Ifakara deep in the village and you're selling to them a phone, or you're giving them a service on the phone and it's in English, you're excluding them technically.
So definitely language of instruction will matter.
Yes. Okay. So the language of instruction, also the language of the actual device. So we did bring into the market first smartphone in Kiswahili, where we made sure we are able to communicate to them what they understand, and also the device we are giving them, it's subsidized. We are definitely leaving them behind. So we made sure we have a smartphone in Kiswahili and went further to have Facebook in Kiswahili. Yes. So bringing them and making them relevant and to the locality, as one of my colleagues said, this is very, very important. And we've done that, and we're keeping looking at what else, how do we make these products back to the local community. And maybe the last is in our mobile money services, we are looking at products that are going to support women even more in terms of growing their small businesses. So we have women who are doing mandazi, they are doing chapati. It's not a huge amount of capital, but they need this capital from somewhere. So we are doing this with our products, giving them loans to support them in their small businesses, and so much more. But I would like to stop there.
Thank you so much. Now we're going to a Q&As, question and answers from the audience. Kama kuna swali, maoni kutoka mtu yoyote inaweza kuwa vizuri sana. Tulikuwa tunazungumza masuala ya innovation and women and girls, masuala ya ubunifu, inahusiana wasichana na wanawake, akina mama, na vile tunaweza kufika hadi ile grassroots level, yani nyanja za chini kabisa. Swali? Maoni? Okay. Kama hatuna basi nafikiri tuta wind up hii session na UN Women. What is your perfect Tanzania women and girls innovation and technology inclusive Tanzania? What is the perfect vision as we wind up?
Thank you so much for the question. I think when Tigo was speaking, I felt that she's addressing, and or rather their products are trying to address much of the issues ambayo we also experience at the grassroots level. So I think just to conclude it, the key issue would be to have women and girls in mind when we are designing the product.
Yes.
And that is exactly what they have done, what this example has shown us in terms of language, in terms of, they brought the smartphones, but really think through how will they be affordable to the women. So affordability is also an issue that we really need to take into place when we are designing the issues. But of course, I was looking, I think it's a good step they've done, because originally people would say, maybe let's not go to smartphones. Let's just dwell on basic phones and see how our products can be reached through the feature phones. But I think doing that will also be leaving some women and girls, because they also need to access products that are in the smartphone. So a blend of it. Feature phones, yes, where smartphones are not accessible, because I'm sure this type of, the type of projects do not go everywhere. So there are some that will still need to think through how using a basic feature phone will be able to include women and girls. That is also very important. But also there are some policy issues around this. The government typically has a role. We are seeing partners like the private sector are taking it up, but I'm not so conversant, for instance, on the smartphone internet issue. But I was just trying to think through now, what about power issues around electricity? Because we all understand how these smartphones consume electricity. Now thinking about the rural person. So I think the government also has a role looking at various policies. How are they gender sensitive? How do they think through of the situation in the rural economy? Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you to my panel from SFF, Unicef, UN Women, and Tigo. And I'm Baby Kpi. We'll be back after we do play you this. We did you the that's the Innovation Week Tanzania new logo. Now I'd like to show you the new teaser and sponsors logo. Okay, that's going on. From the Ministry of Education, Science, Technology, what we do not have somebody there. Tabitha, she'll be coming. You'll be having a session with her. Just a few words here. Okay, but whilst we're getting Tabitha ready, can we also just get to see the new teaser and sponsor videos right now? And thank you to my panel. Asanteni sana. The sponsor logo, teaser and logo.
The Innovation Week has moved the journey where we say now, yes, it is no longer a HDF and Acrostic event, it is a national event. Today, we are trying to see, our vision, our dreams is, combining the two. The Innovation Week and the Mkutano, making one national event. Okay. So we have a week which is a national week for science, technology, and innovation. That's where we are going.
Delighted to partner with HDIF and other partners in co-organizing the Innovation Week Tanzania for 2021. The theme for this year's Innovation Week is Innovation for a Resilient and Inclusive Digital Economy. UNDP is happy to support and also take part in the innovation ecosystem. We have come together with key partners like government, led by the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, and of course COSTECH, with HDIF, and also with development partners, including the European Union and the United Kingdom through the FCDO, to design and develop a program that we call Funguo, aimed to strengthen the innovation ecosystem in Tanzania. This program program will be officially launched during this Innovation Week. The program's slogan is Unlocking Innovation, Investment and Impact. UNDP, in collaboration with its partners during this Innovation Week, will be hosting some interesting sessions that we would like you to attend. These include Rethinking Development in the 21st Century. It also includes Prospects of the Digital Economy in Tanzania. The third one is Crowdfunding as an alternative financing and investment mechanism that strengthens and supports micro, small, and medium enterprises. The other session is the next generation of the innovation ecosystem support initiatives in Tanzania. I take this opportunity to invite all of you to the Innovation Week this year. Please do not miss it. I encourage young people, I encourage women. There's so much for you to behold. The sessions will also be broadcast live. We will ensure that there's a lot of social media presence, and please be part of this Innovation Week Tanzania 2021. Asanteni sana na karibuni sana.
Makofi kwa wingi tafadhali.
It's now 3 years in a row whereby Vodacom is part of the main sponsors of this Innovation Week. We're really excited to be part of this week whereby the main theme is innovation for a resilient and inclusive digital economy. But the difference is this year it's bigger and better. We are in 9 different regions. It's virtually, it will be broadcasted, there will be physical events, and so much more. Why are we doing this? With our vision to lead Tanzania into digital age and transform lives through technology. You need innovation. We need innovation. As a technology company, innovation is at the heart of everything we do. Services like M-Pesa platforms that we have, the Mkulima platforms that we have, the Instant Schools platform that we have, they're all driven by innovation. So that's why Innovation Week is very important to Vodacom. As Vodacom, we'll have a great opportunity to reflect on our first year of the Vodacom Digital Accelerator. So we're calling different people, different partners, different collaborators in this space to come and see how the future of this space looks like. We want to pick how our learnings and experience from this particular program informs our future collaboration. But also, we'll be discussing about the digital divide. We want to see how Africa can be connected as a whole. We want to discuss the bridging digital divide in Africa. So we're calling upon you to participate in either platforms that are out there during the whole week. We're calling for discussions among different sessions to see how we can build a country that is resilient and inclusive in the digital economy sector. We're calling upon women and young ladies to grab this opportunity to be part of the Innovation Week. I would like to challenge women to be part of this. You can be the face of tech, and we believe connected, she can. Women, please grab this opportunity. Looking forward to seeing you. Thank you.
Commitment as a bank is to drive innovation and inclusive digital economy. And this is the main reason NMB has sponsored the Innovation Week. Our goal is to become really the digital masters within the country. NMB is the first bank to introduce Innovation Lab. And the aim of our Innovation Lab is actually to design our profit and invested in our digital infrastructure with the aim of radically improving and transforming the innovation ecosystem within the country. We are looking forward to seeing you during the Innovation Week. Karibuni sana.
The Innovation Week is about to start, and we are very excited to be part of this. For the Netherlands, innovation is about co-creation. Innovation is about bringing together knowledge and expertise to tackle global issues that affect us all, like climate change and sustainable food production. Our approach is also the way you find synergies to make smart connections between disciplines. You can double your impact. At this year's Innovation Week, our focus is on climate-smart cities for Tanzania. And in our events, it's about co-creation and smart connections. The first event is about sustainable tourism, design thinking. What will the safari lodge of the future look like? Our second event is about climate change and digital storytelling, how to make us more aware about the climate crisis our global community faces. Our third event is about resilience and tech, how local communities using their mobile phones can help solving urban challenges in water, forestry, flood management and waste. And it's not only us, the embassy, that will be there. We will be joined by our Dutch water envoy, award-winning photojournalist Kadir van Leeuwenhuizen, and numerous Dutch organizations in water and sanitation, flood management, tourism, design and renewable energy. The trick is to bring all these positive forces together. We stand for solving global challenges together. Pamoja tunaweza. Innovation talks, so join us.
Ubunifu hoye! As one of Tanzania's important partners for promoting innovation and digitalization, we are proud supporters of the Innovation Week. This year's theme is Innovation for a Resilient and Inclusive Digital Economy. We are hosting a virtual event on drones economy. What is the experience and what are the lessons for Tanzania? We will hold a panel discussion with Tanzanian experts on the drone technologies. We are inviting everyone with an interest in those technologies to take part in our event, and we hope to see many women in the audience. Karibuni sana.
Investments in adolescent girls and boys and young people are essential to build their skills in problem solving, critical thinking and digital learning. As Unicef, we know this will help them to become productive and creative citizens who will contribute more to the development of their communities. That's why it's important for Unicef to be part of this year's Innovation Week, as a partner that wishes to contribute to the development of all Tanzanian children through the development and use of innovative solutions. Under the theme, Innovation for a Resilient and Inclusive Digital Economy, UNICEF works with adolescent girls and boys and young people to make sure that they are developing the skills they need to improve their lives and break the cycle of poverty. As part of this year's Innovation Week, UNICEF will be showcasing SMS-based applications that have been developed by students of the University of Dar es Salaam under the theme SMS, All Technology, New Ideas. UNICEF will also host a conference entitled Innovative Water Sanitation and Hygiene Solutions through Social Enterprises. 3 Tanzanian startups will tell us about their experience with UNICEF and the products they have developed to help children and young people survive, develop and thrive. So we're calling on you, young people, girls in tech and everyone else, Karibuni sana, to be part of this year's Innovation Week.
UNCDF, the United Nations Capital Development Fund, is a specialized agency of the UN facilitating access to private and public finance. UNCDF is one of the sponsors of this year's Innovation Week, whose theme is Innovation for a Resilient and Inclusive Digital Economy. This is in line with UNCDF's strategy of leaving no one behind in the digital era. So as part of this year's innovation event, UNCDF will launch the Tanzania FinTech Startup Landscape Report, as well as host a panel to delve deeper into the interesting findings contained in the report. Information is captured across 4 different areas, including demand, capital, talent, policy, and regulation. The event targets innovators, policymakers, enablers, and other relevant stakeholders. Welcome and add your voice to the direction you would like the fintech sector in Tanzania to take in the years to come. Karibuni sana.
Makofi tafadhali. We still have a few more videos from our partners and sponsors, but in the meantime, please let me welcome, we'll show you those videos later, but please let me welcome for now from the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology to say a few words how the government is actually creating amazing products that are capturing the innovative spirit but on a grassroots level. Please welcome Tabitha Etutu.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy to join this event. I think it's good if I can talk something about what is being done by the ministry. As we know, we have the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, which is responsible for promotion and development of science, technology, and innovation in the country. This includes research and innovation, or research and development as well. But the good thing is, when you talk about innovation, before we tend to exclude the grassroots innovators. It was like somebody has to start to be in the higher learning institutions in order to be recognized as an innovator. But as we know, we have best innovation from the grassroots people. And for promoting the science and technology in the country, we have, as a ministry, we have policies and guidelines. For example, we have the policy on science and technology. We also have the policy to guide the biotechnology development in the country. We also have the policy for nuclear technology, as well as the policy guiding the research and development. But putting in mind that we have innovation from grassroots, which were not covered under the biotechnology policy or the nuclear technology or the research and development. The government prepared the guideline. We call it the national guideline to identify and promote innovation, invention, and traditional knowledge practices. Learning from the COVID pandemic, the young generation, I'm talking about 30 years below, came about to know a lot of traditional knowledge which were used before and which were not being transferred or being told to the young generation. All the medicine we have, all the things we can do in order to protect, to improve our immunity, we were learning them during the COVID pandemic. That is just one example. There are other problems which we know, like in medicine, for example. We know the modern medicine cannot cure sickle cell. But when I was growing up, I heard a story about one old man who was able to do that. But that knowledge went away with him. So we as a ministry, we believe that there are a lot of traditional practices which are not tapped on, and that's like, it's like an opportunity loss. We are losing a lot from that. So one of the role of the guideline is to promote innovation, innovation, and those traditional knowledge practices. Unfortunately, we haven't done much on the traditional practices part, but we are working on the different methods where we can involve them. Just imagine you are doing the exhibition on the innovation and science, and somebody come with the knowledge or the practice of how to make a thunder. I wonder how you're going to demonstrate that, and if anybody will be ready to be nearby. But those are knowledge we have. We have rumors going here and there, but believe me, or we have to agree with me, that we have a lot of knowledge, which is really, we are sitting on the gold as a country. So we invite you as media and other partners to work together with the government in order to really find all those treasure we have and develop them. But I can give a good example on the development of innovation, as this is Innovation Week. We have the famous Makisatu, the COSTECH DG talked about it. This is all about the national competition for science, technology, and innovation. The essence or the role, the main argument of initiating the Makisatu is in Swahili is mashindano ya kitaifa ya sayansi, teknolojia na ubunifu, was to stimulate or to identify and in order to promote and develop innovation from all level of people in the country and from all level of organizing. For example, we started the competition in 2019, where we had innovations from secondary school students, innovation from technical students who are learning under VETA colleges, and also from higher learning institutions, as well as research and development institutions. But from 2020 and 2021, we have innovation from primary schools. I'm inviting you guys to go and look for the information about those technologies or innovations which came up to compete at the finals, the top 10. Believe me, you'll be surprised. The primary school kids, they innovate a lot of things, a bigger one. Me at my age, I never thought about it. Tanzania, we have younger generation, which is bigger population than the old generation. At the innovation part, it's very good, actually. Because you can imagine examination which we did before, and the examination or the passing mark of the kids right now is different. The young kids are doing more than we did, and they have that gut to try and dare. We are afraid somehow, maybe from the traditions or the customs and norms, but we have this generation, we have to tap on it, and also we need to encourage them to do things, bigger things. So apart from through the Makisatu, for the 3 years, we have 1,708 innovators competing. Out of those, 130 were supported through the government. You can imagine from this 130, they are just the ones who managed to go into the finals only. 60 for the 2019 because we had 6 groups, and 70 for 2020 because we had 7 groups. And this year, just last week, we had 70 innovators at the Makisatu 2021, out of which we had 21 who are top 3 for each group, who were awarded. And those innovations, whether you didn't get number 1 or number 2 or number 3, as long as you reach the top 10, you had an opportunity to be developed through the government funds and also partners. The development of those innovation is done through COSTECH. So I would just like to take this platform to encourage people to innovate more. We have so many opportunities in the country and we don't know it. And you media, guys, please, be the channel, find the information and tell the population. People are dying just for lack of knowledge. You can have this investor here ready to invest, but he doesn't find where to invest the fund. and just nearby you have somebody who had innovation or technology and yet doesn't know where to get the funds. So media, I can see media as a bridge, connecting innovators and supporters. So help us, please. We are also having another program of identifying the locally developed technologies. This is not necessarily that you register your technology or innovation through the Mkutano, but as long as you have something you have developed, you have a platform to register your technology into the database. We are trying to make that database simply because people need visibility in order to develop their products. And also to have a platform where different funders or different collaborators can come and see, all right, this is the technology I'm interested in, so they can invest. So, but as you can know, government itself cannot do all of it. So that's why we are collaborating with different partners, being private or government institutions, as well as companies and UN organizations. I was so happy to see all those sponsors and collaborators. I can see the networking is coming up because we need that ecosystem in order to develop innovation in the country. Thank you.
Thank you. Nashukuru sana, Dr. Tabitha from the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology. All right, so we are running a little bit late, so what we're going to do right now is quick energizer. Any kama power bank, any charge ya faster. So number, please just stand up. Mara moja tu. A quick one just to energize everyone in here before we get to our last panel discussion forum featuring our main sponsors and some of the financial institutions. All right, so it's very simple. It's I'm going to ask you to put your arms out wide, like you're in the airport. And you're going to start with one hand here, just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the other hand, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the foot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The other foot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the best part is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to be counting down, all right? We'll be counting down. All right, so we're going to try. You guys ready? Are you guys ready? Yeah. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. Thank you.
All right. Woo. Are we ready? I see you are getting your rock and roll moves right. Okay, so we've got the last panel just before we go for a lunch break and then do a networking session. Okay, so we're going through the last panel and then we'll have a Q&A and then we will wind it up and then have our lunch break and call it a very good day. Okay, so far, okay, just I went from where you are. I'm not going to walk around the room, but so far, Waandishi wenzangu, stakeholders, are you feeling Innovation Week coming up nicely? Okay, Waandishi wa habari ambao mlikuwa mnakuja hapa 0, 0. Do you feel like angalau umepata moja? Wale ambao walikuja alafu akaona hiyo akaona mambo mazito sana yani, Kiingereza kingi asubuhi. Umeelewa sasa? Au bado mjaelewa? Yes, I know. Okay, thank you. So it's all about digital economy. So now here's our next panel. And this one will be innovation, yani ndio itakuwa inagusa kauli mbiu yetu. Innovation for resilient and inclusive digital economy.
Ubunifu kwa uchumi wa kidijitali stahimilivu na jumuishi.
We have CRDB, UNCDF, Vodacom, EU, and the Dutch Embassy. And this will be it. Okay, so we're now talking about the theme for this year and why the theme for this year. So can we have our panelists up here, please? A round of applause. CRDB, UNCDF, Vodacom, EU, and the Dutch Embassy. Okay, let's have you guys here. Microphones, please. All the other microphones. And that one there. Okay. Sasa hii panel hapa ndo itakuwa inaelezea kuhusu kauli mbiu. Okay? Why kauli mbiu and how it's going to help us. And most of these are our sponsors and our organizers and our partners. Okay? Tupo pamoja? Okay, good. So this is the final panel, but it's the heaviest, it's the heavyweight panel. I'm glad to be seated amongst all these heavyweights. It's going to be a very good day for me. Please take a picture, take a picture. I'll use this for my CV, please. Don't deny me these moments. All right, thank you very much. So, as we all know, we're going to revert to the theme, which is kauli mbiu yetu, okay? And everybody here is very, very important, so I'm just going to start randomly. And I will go with CRDB Bank. CRDB Bank, okay. I'll start with CRDB Bank. Now you'll just quickly just tell us your name and that's it. And we're going to go to CRDB Bank and say, as a corporate company, okay, what are some of the corporate entities championing to push the digital agenda forward? What are you guys doing? But first, why sponsor something like this? Do we just like, is CRDB so good in its PR that's in everything? That's tomorrow when I start Baby Kpi and Associates, I'll find the CRDB mark on it. But why are you championing this? Karibu sana.
I'd go, yeah, up to the right.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, great. So, my name is Corinne Mtumbuka, and I'm the manager, Scrum and Lean Agile Delivery at CRDB Bank. The question here that was asked, it's actually we live in at the bank. We being the first bank having an innovation and digital transformation unit is to be able to accelerate such agendas to drive more financial inclusion. So when the team reached out, we thought that this is the perfect time to relieve our commitment towards driving digital economy in Tanzania.
Oh, that makes sense. But also, just have to say that to CRDB Bank, is even when I check through my social media feed, when people do comment or tag you on anything, you're very quick to respond. And I mean in terms of speed and time, which is a very good aspect that you've got. So you either have on very hands-on people and you're very key in doing that.
Yes.
Karibu sana. Okay? You're going on?
Yeah, so basically, as I said, we're the first bank to actually have an innovation and digital transformation unit. So that means we have equipped people, and that's where you see new titles coming up as Scrum Master, Lean Agile Deliveries, Design Thinking Specialist. All this is to be able to accelerate such agendas and to be really hands-on and quick in resurfacing and responding to our customers. As our theme says, ni benki ambayo tunasikiliza.
Okay. So are you guys still doing banking? Is that what you're doing with our money? I mean, it sounded so techie, you know, lead scrummer, something design specialist. I'm like, wait, is it me still putting my money there or something's happening else? Let's go to UNCDF, all right? UNCDF, let's start with why is digital economy a big topic now? Why does it matter? Karibu sana, just simply again give us the name and then we get into the topic.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Annette Kasebele. I'm from UNCDF. And as I kind of like alluded to it earlier, so digital economy is part and parcel of UNCDF strategy, and I think it's timely in the sense that we see that a lot of economies are kind of like moving in that direction. So probably I can start with describing, not necessarily a definition, because I think there isn't really an agreed definition of what we mean by digital economy. But essentially, it's looking at the impact of technology in the patterns of production and consumption. So how have we moved from the traditional economy to how we consume and produce different things within our economy and how we capture that? So it sounds like it's a new term for now, but I think a lot of conversation around the topic have been there from the 90s when internet came about and how that translated into different factors of economy. I think we hear this term a lot more now because I think when if you follow the conversation in technology, we see there is the advancement of technology. So there are new technologies out there that enable us to do things in a way that we were not able to do it, let's say, 10 years ago. So how do we capitalize on that? I think Mihail's conversation was around some of these technologies, the blockchains, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and how does that help in production and consumption of goods and services within the economy. And for us, I think pre-COVID, probably digital economy or digital platform was a subject that was far removed for a lot of us. But I think we have seen the importance of it during COVID time, how different people or different things had to pivot and rely on technology for things to continue as normal. You look at education, for instance, there were examples of how everybody started learning remotely and how that has been helpful, or accessing other type of services. From UNCDF perspective, our origin was more in the financial sector. So a lot of examples that I'll be drawing on or conversation will be within technology within the finance, right? So we have had multiple times the mobile technology and how that has enabled different, or has made it easier for people to transact, for people to trade and whatnot. So I think, yeah, it's important now because we can't ignore it. A lot of countries are migrating towards that, and I think it will get to a point where saying digital economy will be a bit of a redundancy because the whole economy will be digital in a sense. So I'll stop there.
Thank you.
I have a question, and this question is for the Dutch Embassy. Sustainability is a very big word right now, and it's embedded in most projects that are being invested in, especially technology. We saw, for example, a video whereby instead of the traditional build a well and then disappear and then it's not maintained, and then after a while it just runs down, but now there's an innovation that allows it to be more sustainable and it keeps it going on its own. So having said that, how much is the sustainability aspect key in the decisions that you make as a key stakeholder, and how does this tie in with climate change, which is a massive threat to development?
Yeah, thank you very much, Baada Samachana. Yeah, if you talk about sustainability, I think it's also very important that there should be a business model. You should make money out of it if you have a product or a service which you claim to be sustainable. And maybe to give you one interesting example, that's also an event we are organizing during the Innovation Week. And that's about tourism, about how to combine design thinking in tourism. Tourism is one of the main sectors here in Tanzania. We see more and more, at least Dutch tourists or European tourists going to Tanzania wants to have a climate smart experience or want to stay in lodges. So that's what we have a session about, to really create a climate smart lodge of the future, to make it sustainable, but also to make it sustainable in terms of selling that lodge to customers worldwide, be it in the Netherlands or Europe. So I think that's part and parcel that if you have a sustainable product or a service, there should be a business model behind it. And that is one of the interesting things we're going to discuss this week. So next you see how that can help the tourism sector in Tanzania. Thanks.
I'd love to add on to that, but when you just touch on tourism, it's a subject that's very wide and it's very good. And we're looking at how digital is doing that. Now, we've got visitors coming in and they're going into lodges, you were talking about that, and eco-friendly lodges and all of that. So, because we're hit by COVID right now, worldwide, and I'm sure also your country has been hit too, and let's speak about Europe in general. More Europeans have been coming, and now it's COVID. How then can we use technology to enable to better that up? I mean, are we going to be checking everything online? And if they can't travel, do we now, what do we do? Do we post online now? What do we do? How can we make that tourism? Because tourism is an experience. You have to be there to feel it, you know, no matter how many safari channels you watch. So how can we then use this digital economy? Well, we can send money, I know, online. We can do this. But how then can we make the tourist enjoy that wow experience? Because that's what it's all about.
Well, yeah, that's a very important question. It's also a big question, I would say. But there was once a Dutch company here active in Tanzania, and they are, during the high tides of Corona last year, they started to have virtual safaris. So you could watch the animals from your computer screen. Not sure if that's the experience you want to showcase.
No.
I believe, well, COVID is something, I hope, something temporary. And we have to already prepare for the next future, the early future, basically. In a matter of years, hopefully things will go way better. So I think we don't have to wait now. We really have to start already preparing for post-Corona times, in terms of that tourism is reviving again. So that would be my main message, to already start now to prepare for the hopefully near future.
Another quick one. Most of the lodges that you're talking about that you go to, for anyone who's ever had that experience, not all of them encourage Wi-Fi. Not many of them have televisions or computers, because they want you to be one with nature. Aren't we then pushing that button when we are trying to get digitally economical when it comes to that experience? Because some of the people enjoy that, like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't find any Wi-Fi, because then I was able to just not keep on checking on my phone, or I didn't have a television, so I didn't have to keep up with what's going on in the world, you know? It's just mere nature. And yes, to answer your question, I watched National Geographic and other channels before I actually went to the Serengeti, and it was nothing like the experience. How many have been to Serengeti? Or to a national park? And you know the difference what you've watched, and when you go and see it, you get, you're like, wow. No matter how much TV you watch, you can't get that. So it won't work, no matter how much virtual you do. Back to my question. We're trying to go and get one with nature. You don't want to have Wi-Fi there. You don't want to have a television there. You don't want to carry your laptop or your tablet. So how are we putting this together? Isn't it counterintuitive, so to speak?
Well, it's very personal, of course. Also, if I would go on holidays, I would want to switch off. I don't want to watch my telephone, don't want to watch television. Maybe others want to watch television while they're on holiday, so it's a personal thing. But if you talk about ecotourism, I think that's you want to be close to nature, so you want to switch off completely. I'm not an expert in that, but I'm not sure how that would work out. But I mean, there are already examples there in the Serengeti and other parks in Tanzania where you could really, feel you're part of the nature, and you can really switch off. So I think it's already happening here in Tanzania, and there's maybe an opportunity to really expand that and to attract even more visitors, tourists from Europe to make use of those opportunities.
Thank you very much. Now I want to go to, whilst we're there, I'll go to Vodacom. Let's get to the corporate side. Vodacom has also been, we spoke to Tigo just a few minutes ago, but also Vodacom and the other cellular networks have been leading in terms of digital migration to the digital economy, you know. And we will not deny that M-Pesa has gone places, you know, and it, as a pioneer in terms of, you know, moving money, was one of the first. But what else is Vodacom doing in the corporate world to actually bring us closer to the rest of the world, even though we're leading in terms of the moving money? But what else is Vodacom doing in terms of bringing this a digital economy into play for a normal person? And let's talk about the people who are actually in the rural area. I know for us urbaners, we've got apps, we've got everything. You can almost do anything with my Vodacom app. You know, so what else are you doing to reach out to the ones who are not, sorry to say, but reachable? to the very end. Push it to the mwisho. Yes, there you go.
Thank you for such a very good question. My name is Nguvu Kamando, and to show how Vodacom is serious on digital, I'm the digital director. So it's a full-fledged department looking for innovation, and it's very difficult to separate innovation and digitalization. Now, before I go to your question, you can see how the innovation and this year's theme on innovation for a resilient and inclusive digital economy. So we will consider those who are on the disadvantages area in terms of what product and what services they will make relevance and change their lives. As you know, our motto, our vision is to ensure that we digitalize Tanzania, and we understand the challenges not only in the connectivities but also on the devices. So we do have special programs in terms of subsidizing devices at an affordable price, whereby we have the like of Smart Kitochi, which is really going well into the rural areas because it's affordable. But also through engagement with the government, a famous project with UCAF, UCF Universal Communication Fund, Access Fund, whereby we expand our coverage to the deep rural areas. And to give you a few numbers, up to date, Vodacom has already covered over 1,000 villages. To be specific, it's 1,158, and over 400 wards. And when we go there, we don't only provide just a signal for voice calls. No, we do also provide broadband, 3G, 4G as well. And we see very good uptake with the Smart Kitochi product. But also, we do also engage with women, girls. As I said before, called like a girl project, whereby over 600 have already been benefited. But all of our products, when it comes to applicability, relevance, we really consider the local Tanzanians. And we have digital squads that are responsible in developing solutions for Tanzanians. And all of these we normally not only consider digital but also the legacy way, because we understand over 70% of Tanzania still are using the featured phones. So it's again the question of chicken and egg, which should we start first? Yeah. Should we provide infrastructure, or should we wait until 100% of the population have got access to smartphone? No, we think we should provide infrastructure while also fastening or accelerating the digital migration. So it's really exciting, and I'm proud to be part of the team that are changing people's life in Tanzania through technology.
Thank you very much. In your department, as the head of the department, how many women do you have?
Over 60% are women, and most of them very young from university with 1-2 experience. I tell you, we born before computers, we don't think the way like these young chaps. You have seen how the new revamped My Vodacom app. Yeah. If I show you the team that did that one, it's unbelievable. And they are coming every day with new ideas and innovation.
Is it led by a woman?
Yes, it's led by a woman. She called Maria Masal.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Hello to her. And on that last note, before I let Evans take over, still on the gender issue, is or on helping, how much is Vodacom putting back into helping these startups and these innovations? Okay. As in, because now you've got a fantastic team that's doing all of that, but how much are you putting back? Are you going to schools? Are you going to universities? Where are you going?
Okay, so we decided to do another collaboration or engagement with other stakeholders. So on that pillar, we partnered with the Smart Lab, who went all over the country. That was last year, and we will continue. We had more than 500 applications for that program, the Vodacom Digital Acceleration, and 15 successful applicants were supported and mentored up to the end, whereby we had 3 winners, though all were winners because it was very exciting. They had very good ideas in the sectors of health, education, entertainment, fintech, to mention a few. So what we do is to ensure that we make an impact, and we want to have the apples from Dar es Salaam, the like of apples from Dar es Salaam. We want to have our own Silicon Valley, and we want to change people's lives through technology. So it's a sustainable program. It's not a once-off, of which the board has approved, and it's going to be revised yearly based on the experience and the learnings you are getting. Yeah.
All right, Evans.
Okay, that's very interesting. Actually, we have a Silicon Micro Valley from Morocco to Makumbusho.
Yeah. Right.
We took care, like all the companies are right there within that very small space, which is.
We want to make it big, Evans.
Oh, we'll expand. Taratibu. This is a question for the EU, and it might sound a little bit obvious, but it's actually an interesting question with regards to what specifically about innovation and tech makes it key whenever we talk about development interventions. Yeah, this is to you, Lisa.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's indeed a very interesting question, and I think the key word here is leapfrogging. I think the more, let's say, traditional view of development is for developing economies to kind of follow the same path of development as more developed economies. And I think more and more what we're seeing is that power of technologies and digital solutions for these developing economies to leapfrog this development by doing one or both of two things. So on the one hand, technologies allow economy or a country to skip certain stages of development. A very, I guess, evident example of that is a mobile phone. So rather than, going through the whole process of putting down this infrastructure of landlines, we make use of satellite technology. And so more people are connected than they would have been before. And then a second example is for the use of emerging technologies to create new solutions for areas, priority areas, where otherwise, let's say, traditional technologies have not able to reach the impact that we were hoping for it to reach. We heard a couple of examples today, one of which by our colleague from Vodacom on M-Pesa, another one during earlier chat on blockchain for agriculture. And then another example for that would be, for example, the use of drones. So during our event, during this Innovation Week, we'll be speaking about the drone economy and the opportunities that it brings for Tanzania, that it holds for Tanzania and the development of Tanzania. And I think the most interesting part of these type of conversation is for the focus not to be on the technologies, but how can we take those technologies and apply them and create use cases so that we can actually create impact in areas that are a priority for this country.
Thank you. Just as a follow-up question to that, when it comes to committing financial assistance and other to any project, transparency is a big word, and we spoke today about, for example, blockchain technologies and a variety of technologies that give a bigger scope to the ability to be more transparent. How important is that in the process of technology?
Do you mean for blockchain for a...
Oh, no. I mean in the process of making the decision to have technology as part and parcel of a developmental move.
If I understand your question correctly, I think transparency is an important aspect of, as you mentioned, development programs and the use of development funds. If we can use technology to enhance that, I think that's very welcomed. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, whilst we're winding up this panel, we're just going to take in 1 or 2 questions from the audience. We already have a hand raised there by Iku, if you can get one mic to her. Second question from this side, so we could just get them together. Swali lingine kutoka huku. We have one question there.
Okay.
One thing we haven't really looked at is the downside of innovation and technology. We've lost a lot of concentration because of these things nowadays.
TikTok. Okay. All right.
Yeah. All right. Our attention span has gone from 0.
Nakwambia zero kabisa. Question please from Iku Lazaro from Shule Direct.
Thank you. My name is Iku Lazaro from Central Hub. Thank you, Innovation Week, having this platform where we can have all mobile telcos and the financiers in the same room. My question, I have many questions, but I'm going to try and summarize into one question, where we're talking about inclusivity and innovation. So I understand that from our stats from TCRA, and unfortunately there isn't anyone here from TCRA, the country currently, we have 43% of the population on internet. But I know when we're looking at the individual mobile telcos, I don't think the active number of subscribers on internet daily is 5 million per mobile network operator. And perhaps the challenges, again, I think they've been mentioned, but we're talking about devices, we're talking about the costs of technology. So if we're talking about digitization and making sure that everyone is included, what are the mobile telcos doing about making sure that everyone can access a device? And the same question I would like to ask to the financiers in the room. I understand and I know that at some point, some years back, CRDB had tried some program where people could get loans to get devices. But then when we're looking at the Tanzanian population, where 60% of our population is under 24, and our education system is such that at 24, I am probably likely to finish university. So I don't think that's the right time to get a loan to get a device. And I know there's a lot of strides made by the government looking at issues of identification. So now we have NIDA, so you can identify people. So I don't know how do you all come together to make sure that we can have these devices in the hands of everyone. And it's really sad that we were talking about women and including women, and we were talking about solutions around maybe a woman can own a feature phone. Why aren't we talking about a woman owning a smartphone? When we're trying to put everything digital and we're trying to put everything advanced for everyone. So can we also start talking about this issue of devices available and accessible to everyone? Thank you.
So who's going to answer that one? Vodacom and then CRDB? Was that the target?
Okay.
Very brief answers, please.
Yeah.
And then we'll also have Kostek to also answer that a little bit, Evans, the same question.
Thank you, Iku. As I've said, from Vodacom point of view, number one, we started a project to subsidize these smartphones to ensure that they become affordable. Number two, we accelerated our infrastructure projects to get 4G everywhere, because we understand internet is a key, it's one of the pillars on the digitalization. Number three, we are working with the government and other stakeholders to find out if we can get relief, if not waiving out completely the taxes, because those are the factors that are really limiting affordability on device point of view. And while we are waiting for that, we also engage some of our big partners to also find a way to come with the projects on device financing that is also part of the program. Thank you.
All right, a quick one by Vodacom before we finish off with Kostek.
Thank you, Iku, for the question. And I would go straight to the device financing, which has been a pain point to most of our customers. And this is where we are trying to move from being just a bank into being a financial provider. So we are actually looking at things like this. And we have partnered with FSDT for giving us customer data and insights for places where we are not up to reach. Also, we can see most of our products die a natural death, and that's because we don't hear from the horse's mouth. We sit in the boardroom and assume we know what our customers want, when in real sense, that's not the real issue on the ground. So with that being said, we are still partnering, and we are also partnering with telecommunications, trying to bridge that gap in order to be able to provide to our customers what they actually need. Apart from just having branches, apart from having agency, there's still more that we need. People need more as we being the financial providers. And for the policy dilemmas, what we can actually do now is to have conversations like this with the movers and shakers, because the policy dilemmas are there. As far as we want to move fast, we are still being surveyed with the rigid policies that are still on the ground. So much more that we can do as the bank is to spark these conversations, to try to get insight with the movers and shakers on how best we can accelerate the digital economy.
All right, thank you, CRDB. And finally, Kostek, on the same answer before we take on another question. A brief answer, please, Dr. Amos Nungu.
Briefly on what the government is doing. I have 3 points. First, we can see how serious it is on the digital economy. The government has started a new ministry for ICT. That's how serious it is. But second, on the connectivity, I think, if you see, the government, through the manifesto of the ruling party, we are aiming that, by 2025, 80% of the population should be covered, should have access. And in that one, of course, the national ICT backbone is supposedly to cover 20%, 80% by 2025. But also, I think it was last month where TCRA put up an ad where they're inviting partners to work together to establish a manufacturing complex for phones in Tanzania. So all of these are moves to make sure the access, but also the gadgets are kind of covered or available. Kwa ajili ya waandishi wa habari wa Tanzania wenzangu, kwa maana ya kwamba tunaongelea uchumi wa kidigitali na tunamwangalia mwananchi wa kawaida kabisa. Serikali kupitia hotuba Mheshimiwa Rais aliongea wakati akihutubia bunge, lakini pia tukiangalia ilani ya chama ambayo serikali iko madarakani, ilani ile inasema kwamba 80% ya Watanzania wote wanatakiwa wafikiwe kufikia mwaka 2025. Na hilo tunatekeleza kwa kasi kubwa sana, lakini ukiangalia ule mkongo wa taifa unatakiwa ufike kwa hawa wananchi wote hata vijijini huko, na pia serikali imaanisha wizara ya tehama. Hiyo ni kuonyesha ile nia thabiti ya serikali kuhakikisha kwamba hii tunasema uchumi wa kidijitali unamfikia kila mtu. Lakini kikubwa zaidi, hizi simu janja kununua kutoka nje labda bei gari. Mwezi uliopita taasisi yetu TCRA, taasisi ya mawasiliano Tanzania, waliweka tangazo kuomba wadau wengine ambao wafanya biashara waje kushirikiana kusudi kuanzisha kiwanda cha kuzalisha hizi simu hapa nchini, kwa maana ya kwamba itapunguza bei na pia zitapatikana kirahisi na itatengeneza ajira. Ile kubwa ni kuhakikisha kwamba hizi simu zinapatikana hata kwa mkulima na kina mama kule vijijini, shangazi zetu, wajomba zetu. Kwa hiyo tunaamini kwamba serikali ina nia njema na sisi watendaji tunatekeleza, kwa sababu Mheshimiwa Rais ameshatoa maelekezo, tubaki utekelezaji na nia ipo. Tunasema kazi iendelee.
Thank you very much. Okay, one last question. One last question. Swali la mwisho.
Asante, naitwa Ana Mwasioke, kaimu mhariri mkuu shirika la utangazaji Tanzania TBC. Nimefurahi kama mwanahabari kuwa hapa. Natamani kufahamu namna gani wadau mbalimbali ambao wapo hapa wanasapoti masuala ya ubunifu watatusaidia sisi waandishi wa habari kujihusisha zaidi na shughuli zao ili tuweze kuandika hadithi za watu ambao wamefanya ya ubunifu hasa katika kabisa. Nakumbuka tulia moja HDIF walionyesha stories za watu ambao wamefanya vizuri masuala ya ubunifu maeneo ya vijijini kabisa. Sisi ndo tufike ili tuweze kufanya kazi zetu vizuri na kuwaibua wale. Kwa hiyo mnatusaidia vipi kujiengage na nyinyi zaidi ili tufike hapo?
Will that be a question for UNCDF or would that be a question for HDIF?
I think more than the HDF, maana mmekusanyiko watu wote wa ubunifu
kwa sababu
na
ni
stories zote
wote
zile zinahusiana huko.
Ni wote dadangu, na wote ndio wengine wakwambia Coste kwa hapa wamefanya makisatu hapa, wametoka na watu kutoka wamesema wameenda mikoa karibu yote. Sasa hivi waziri mkuu juzi amesema iwe ya nchi nzima na iwe inafanyika kila mwaka. Kwa hivyo nafikiri wadau ni wengi zaidi, but HDIF, please Joseph, take it on.
Asante, nadhani nitakuwa naongelea kwa niaba ya wadau wengine wote ambao kwa sasa sio HDIF peke yake. Ni swali zuri. Moja, nadhani ni jitihada ambayo tumeshaanzisha. Kama alivyosema tulishawahi kukutana na waandishi wa habari sio mara moja, nadhani kama mara 3 hivi. Kwa ajili ya kuelezea ni vitu gani tunafanya, ni vitu gani vinatikia kwa ajili ya kusupport ubunifu zaidi na vile vile kuwajengea uwezo, kwa sababu ubunifu ni vitu ambavyo bado sisi wenyewe tunajifunza. Kwa hiyo ili waweze kuelimisha wananchi inabidi hao wenyewe waelewe. Kwa hiyo nadhani hiyo ni initiative ya kwanza. Lakini ya pili, ni changamoto ambayo kila siku tunawapa waandishi wa habari wenyewe kwamba ili kuendelea katika ubunifu inahitaji jitihada binafsi. Kwamba tuangalie na maudhui yenyewe ambayo tunaandika, ambayo tunatangaza. Naamini kabisa kuna nafasi kubwa sana katika space ambao wananchi waandishi wanayo kwenye vyombo vya habari kuweka content zaidi kuhusu ubunifu ni kitu gani kinafanyika. Kwa wale ambao waweza kwenda Dodoma kwenye makisatu, nadhani waliona kuna vitu vingi sana ambao nje ya Dar es Salaam. Hata startups zilizopo Dar es Salaam nafikiri ukiuliza ni wangapi wanapata airtime kwenye media zenu, sio wengi sana. Pengine kwa sababu wengine hawana hela ya kulipia airtime. Kwa ni pengine kuangalia mnakuja jitihada gani zenyewe za kuwapa nafasi ya upendo waweze kuonekana. Lakini labda la mwisho ni challenge hata kwa taasisi za serikali na taasisi za binafsi vile vile, kwamba tunapokuwa tunafanya initiatives zote ambazo zinahusiana na ubunifu, tuangalie jinsi ya kuhakikisha kwamba waandishi wa habari wanashirikishwa. Sio tu kwa ajili ya kuwaita kwenye press conference kwa tuna launch kitu, lakini vile vile kwenda kuonyesha ni vitu gani tumefanya ile hizo story ambazo zipo success stories ziweze kufikishwa mbali zaidi. Nadhani ni niseme tu kwa ufupi, lakini initiatives zipo zinazoendelea.
Okay. Waandishi wa habari tumekubaliana kwamba tutatafuta hizo stories. Waandishi wa habari tumekubaliana kwamba tutatafuta hizo stories.
Tumekubali.
Yeah, basi asante. It was the last question, lakini sija kusikia, but it was the last question. Make it very brief. Ya mwisho.
Asante. Mimi sidhani kama ni swali, itakuwa ni kama suggestions. First, we need a platform that we can get all the information concerned that field. It's now very difficult to find the list of our innovators so that we can reach them. So I mean, COSTECH and other partners should come up with a database. Of course, maybe if I want to search for innovators in education, in any matters, I know where I go and find them. This is one. But two, sometimes we don't report them. It's not that we don't like to report them, but we might have no knowledge of recognizing that this is a story. This is going to make an impact to the society. So we need people who will, people or partners who will give us skills of in innovations. Many young journalists, especially youths, they have no knowledge on such issues. So these are my recommendations. Thank you.
Another recommendation may be COSTECH or HDIF. Do you have any awards or recognitions for journalists who actually do tech and innovation stories? You do, huh? Okay, good. Nice one. Thank you very much to my panel from the EU, from the Dutch Embassy, from CRDB, from UNCDF, and from Vodacom. A round of applause, please.
Makofi kwao tafadhali. Kwa sana.
Asanteni sana. Very engaging, very mind-opening, and very eye-opening as well. And very, very, very interactive. Asanteni sana. You've been great at this since morning.
All right, whilst we're preparing to have the final videos on play, I would like to tell you that before lunch, because lunch is up, lakini before lunch there'll be interviews for the media. Kwa hiyo waandishi wa habari, kuna interview mnaweza kufanya na wadau ambao wamehojiwa siku hii ya leo,
yes,
ili mpate stories zaidi, na baada hapo itafuata lunch.
Yes.
Na lunch yenyewe itakuwa baada ya shughuli zote kuisha, utashuka chini reception, kuna mahali pa kupandia pale ngazini pale.
Okay.
And that's where we'll have lunch at the restaurant.
So we finish here. We're going to give this maybe 10-15 minutes to have the interviews, mnataka kuuliza maswali, kupiga picha, and network. Remember to meet each other, and hopefully we'll see you from Monday at Makumbusho asubuhi na mapema.
Yes, kwanza stories ziko hapa hapa, nashangaa yani mwandishi, stories ziko humu ndani, ulize tu hapa kana hapa.
The whole week, remember, Innovation Week starts next week on Monday, Makumbusho from 8 o'clock in the morning. There'll be another symposium there. There'll be the grand opening. The whole week, mtakutana hizo story, mtakutana na wabunifu, there'll be workshops, you know, there'll be exhibition, there'll be everything there. So now let's get to those, what you were seeing, the videos from our sponsors, and you can carry on with the interviews. Asanteni sana! Thank you from Baby Kpi and
Evans Bukuku.
Until next year.